What's packing? Everybody, it's your boy Godchild, first of his name. Welcome back to the show. Let me see if we're live. I am live. I want to see what it sounds like though. What is it? Good. Sounds good. Hey man, it's your boy Godchild, first of his name. And we are talking Green Bay Packers as usual, but there's some other news to discuss in the world of the NFL. As you know, this is Super Bowl week. We got the almost said the Patriots. We got the Buccaneers. We got the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the trade, the mega trade that went down over the weekend. Your boy Jared Goff going from his team in Los Angeles to Detroit. Detroit sends their guy, their quarterback, Stafford, now to Los Angeles. I mean, we could break down the trade talks and the whole deal. But first, man, I want to really go over what happened today, just maybe like an hour ago. The Brazzle Dazzle. I am glad to see Godchild happy and well. I thought he was suicidal after the Packers got destroyed by the Bucs. I don't know who the Bucs are, but dude, you've seen me many times since they played. So don't sit here and try to act like I was on suicide watch. I know crazy shit like that, man. Come on, don't try to play me, dude. Yeah, I was angry, but I was never sad. I was never heartbroken. I was never crying. I never shed a tear. Just looking out for you. I appreciate it, Brazzle. I appreciate you looking out for me. We're gonna actually, as your official troll. Yeah, I know. It's a little out of character for you to be so nice. Honestly, it shows that you really are. You really are a sweetheart, man. I kind of like when I have the microphone like in view, right? I feel like it adds a little bit of, it makes it seem like I'm really actually doing some live shit here. All right, man. Like I said, the first thing I want to do is I'm gonna run a quick little 60-second ad break so I can disable the pre-roll. So anybody who jumps on the stream, they don't have to worry about watching the. Actually, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna just jump right into it, man. The Packers general manager and head coach Matt LaFleur and the general manager Brian Gutekunst, they came on earlier today, and they had press conferences today, and I'm gonna watch those. I'm gonna do a live reaction and sort of just. I'm going to do a live reaction to whatever they're talking about on the press conference. This is the first time speaking to the media since they fired both of their defensive coordinator. They fired the D coordinator, and they also fired the special teams coach. Nobody has been hired yet. I wonder if they'll be asked about the Matthew Stafford news and, whatever else they might talk to them about. So we're going to go ahead on and play this audio. If you haven't had a chance to listen to Matt LaFleur, he was on about, an hour ago. He did about 30 minutes online. Let me see. He was on, I don't know. It doesn't really say, but this happened earlier today. I'm on the Packers page right now, so we can actually, I'm gonna go ahead on and listen in live on this. This is head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Matthew LaFleur, talking to the press. Really, his first time since they, I guess, fired the two coaches on his staff. Here we go.
I think there's a lot of areas.
Just wondering, in what areas do you feel specifically you want your defense to improve in next year, and what are some of the kind of traits you're looking for in your next coordinator?
Yeah, I think, Steve, there's a lot of areas we want to improve upon. Just
All right, so that's pretty good. The sound's pretty good on that. I don't want it to be too loud, but I want to be able to hear him. All right, I'm gonna just crank that up maybe to 65%. So we're good to go on that, man. I just want to make sure that we can actually hear Mr. LaFlower. I want to make sure we can actually hear him. That's pretty good. The sound's pretty good on that. I need to log. I'm gonna log in on my iPad over here. Let me go ahead and log in on the app. Oh, shiza. Oh, what the freak? Oh, man. Damn, I done logged out and now I can't log back in. What the F? That sucks. That really sucks. All right, give me a second here, guys. Give me a second here. I'm going to pull up everything. All right, man. We got Matt LaFleur talking to the media. I already had that up. Okay, cool. So, boom. Here we go. Let me move these tabs over. Move over the tabs. All right, we're going to start this thing up. It's 30 minutes, so should be some good content out of this. Let's go.
Just wondering, in what areas do you feel specifically you want your defense to improve in next year, and what are some of the kind of traits you're looking for in your next coordinator?
Yeah, I think, Steve, there's a lot of areas we want to improve upon. Just being more consistent, and then just what we saw from our defense at the end of the season, just our ability to swarm and give that great energy and effort. I mean, that's what we're looking for.
Brian Wood.
What went into the decision to move on?
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's a good first question. What are you looking for in their defense going into next year? The ability to swarm and the energy and effort. And honestly, that's one of the things. That's honestly like one of the things that I would say as a fan, I noticed like legitimately that this team didn't seem to have to carry themselves in the way that I would like defensively. They didn't seem to always be to have that edge. They seemed confused, and they didn't always seem to like be confident. So, and I feel like when you lack confidence, you don't play well. When you don't play well, obviously it hurts your confidence even more. Okay? And then you don't have that energy. You're not flying around because you're not sure what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're not really you don't have a lot of success on that doing what what the coaches is trying to get you to do. So I feel like that does tend to negatively affect what they're able to do defensively, their level of play, not having that confidence and not having that energy. I don't know if it was just because they didn't really like the system. I don't know if it's because they just didn't like the defensive coordinator. And it's hard to get a real sense of this from the players because I think generally players aren't going to throw people under the bus. Now, there was a situation where Matt Patricia was fired in season by the Detroit Lions, and you did see some ex-players come out and speak negatively about Matt Patricia. But if a guy is still on the team, you know what I'm saying, or definitely still in the league or whatever, it's like you're not really going to see players talk too negatively about a coach, because who knows, they could end up having that coach again, which I think is the biggest reason. Is like, just because a guy got fired here, what if I get traded to a team where that guy is now at? That's going to create an issue, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, I think that's really probably the biggest reason. And I guess they just, maybe some of these players, they have sympathy and empathy for guys because they know how tough it is, how the media can really just rag on you. So, yeah, I agree with Matt LaFleur. Like, the defense didn't really seem to have that energy a lot of the times that you'll be looking for.
From Mike, and with him not renewing his contract a year ago, was there always kind of an understanding that this might be his last year as your defensive coordinator?
I don't think that ever was something that, you go into the season thinking. Just really grateful for what Mike brought to us. Obviously, he was a guy that I really leaned on. And anytime you make a decision like this, it's never easy. It really it weighs heavily on your heart. And like I said, really grateful for everything he brought. Going to 2 straight NFC Championship games, we couldn't have done it without Mike Pettin, and just felt like it was one of those deals where, again, it's always a tough decision, but just needed some new leadership on that side of the ball, and
yeah,
so that's just the direction that we decided to go.
Not really a strong answer there. You asked him what went into the decision to let him go. I mean, he didn't really say shit, and I feel like I know you don't want to really shit on this guy, and I get that. Like I said, you never know where. Trailer Court 69, what's packing, my friend? How are you? We're watching I'm giving a live reaction to Matt LaFleur. He just had a press conference that he did maybe about an hour or 2 hours ago. Just talking about them firing Sean Menenga or whatever the dude named, the special teams coordinator and the defensive coordinator. That's what they're asking him right now. So I haven't gotten a chance to look at it earlier today. So I'm just giving my live reaction to it. And then we'll talk about some other things. But
Hey, Matt, you got me?
Got you, Mark.
they had just asked him what went into his decision to fire Mike Pettin, and he just said basically, I feel like we needed some new leadership on that side of the ball. And I mean, fair enough, but I would like some more details there. But I guess, like I said, I can't expect him to like just kind of throw this dude under the bus or like shit all over him. It's like, hey, he's still in the league. He's not trying to like maybe hurt his chances to get a job somewhere else. And I mean, you never know how their paths might cross later on down the road.
Regarding Sean, can you confirm whether or not Maurice Drayton is going to get that job, or where are you at in that regard?
Yeah, so we're gonna go with Mo. Really excited with what he brings. He's an excellent teacher, an excellent communicator. Got so much energy and enthusiasm, and just think he can really elevate our level of play in that area. A guy that's been here for a while now. Had the opportunity to interview him in the first go around. Was super impressed with him. Just I didn't know a whole lot about him, and I having never been around him, and after being around him for 2 years now, I think it was a matter of time before he was going to get one of these other opportunities that presented themselves outside of this building. So did not want to lose a guy like Mo Drayton, and again with Sean, just very grateful for everything he brought to us, just the energy, the effort on a daily basis. It was just one of those tough decisions, and but thankful for all he did for this organization for over 2 years.
Hey, I mean, but it's like, well, how can you be thankful? You know what I mean? You had one of the worst special teams in the NFL. Like, I understand these guys don't want to be too hard on these ex-players and ex-coaches or ex-staff members or whatever it is, but it's like, dude, you fired him for a reason. And so it's like, obviously, you weren't thankful for that much. If you were all that thankful for everything he brought to the organization, you wouldn't have canned his ass. So it's like, I don't know. It's like I don't know what I'm really expecting him to say, but at the same time, it's like, that's why these things are kind of like, they're kind of, I don't know, just like what I guess you could, the reporters ask the questions, but at the end of the day, it's like, what do you really expect to get from these guys? You know what I mean? Like, in reference to the last guy, I don't know, but we're gonna keep listening.
Here, I was wondering, so what happened on that last play at the end of the first half? Was there a miscommunication there between you and Mike?
Good question.
Sort of in that vein, so much goes into
Yes.
managing a game.
Yes.
Are you considering giving up play calling so you can
No.
be completely
Don't do that.
to the whole game?
Yeah, in regards to what happened at the end of the half, I mean that was just a flat out miscommunication, and ultimately that anytime something like that occurs, that 100% falls squarely on my shoulders. I've got to make sure that I'm crystal clear with our communication, and
Yeah.
those mistakes cannot happen, especially when the stakes are so big. In particular, we pride ourselves on being great in situations.
Yeah.
I feel like we've done a pretty decent job over 2 years, but unfortunately, it came at like the most inopportune time.
Facts, bro. Like
Where,
at the worst times, like this team, and honestly, there was a stat that I looked up, or not even I looked up, but I have found this video that I posted to my Instagram, _Packin, sort of making a case for Matt LaFleur as coach of the year. And one of the stats in that video said how Matt LaFleur was actually one of the best coaches in the NFL all year long in situational football, especially on like fourth down in critical situations, like his play calling, his decision to go for it, like in enemy territory, his I guess it factors in everything. It factors in like every single call they make defensively and offensively, but especially offensively. And like he said, at the end of the day, everything that happens on game day is ultimately his responsibility. And earlier in the year, when this defense wasn't performing nowhere near to the level they performed at the end of the year, or what I think they were capable of, and clearly what the Packers organization think that they are capable of, I started to say, like, my argument was, okay, like, clearly Mike Packin has been this way for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And whether you want to argue his talent level has been to where he needed it to be to have a top performing defense, like, I have begun to really place the blame on Matt LaFleur, because if you don't like perfect example what this guy's talking about right here, and maybe he's gonna address this, but bro, y'all had timeouts. Like, the clock was running out. You had timeouts in your pocket. There was no reason for you as the head coach to look out on that field after Tampa Bay had called the timeout. Play clock had started over. There was like no rushing here. They came back onto the field. They got into a formation. Not like they were in no huddle or some shit and they were snapping the ball as quick as possible. Tampa Bay called the timeout. They came back onto the field. They're running a play. If you're Matt LaFleur and you see that you're a man defense and you're like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? You need to be like, timeout. You need to call a timeout as soon as you notice that, and do something about it, and go to Mike Packin. Like, what the fuck are you thinking, Mike? Why are we in zone? Like, why are these guys up so close? Like, whatever it is, the problem that you had with that play, if you noticed it as a head coach, and I'm pretty sure he did, and he just said there was a lack of communication, but like, it's on you to like call the timeout and make the adjustment. Like, like 98% of the time, LaFleur was like on top of his shit, but like, it was just critical moments in this game right there at halftime, at the end of the half. He was off his game right there. And of course, on that 4th and goal decision at the end of the game, he clearly made the wrong choice to not go for it. Obviously, that was the better choice. The statistics or the analytics can back up, going for the field goal and blah, 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 blah. But every football person in America knows, like, bro, you got to go for it there. So as much as I do love LaFleur, I think he's level-headed. I think he's smart. He definitely has some moments where, like, I don't understand why he did what he did and how different it was from what, like he really... It just was so different from everything else he had been doing. Gistone Talk Sports, I'm liking the consistent schedule, etc. It's starting to become memorable. Like, I kind of remember you go live at 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, thank you, man. Keep making the show dope as F. Yeah, thank you, Gistone, GSTS, Gistone Talk Sports. I appreciate that, man. Trying to raise my levels here, man. Trying to be consistent. I'm a back up for a second.
In themselves falls squarely on my shoulders. A flat out,
managing a game. Are you considering giving up play calling?
No, he should never give up play calling.
The whole game.
Yeah, in regards to what happened at the end of the half, I mean that was just a flat out miscommunication, and ultimately that anytime something like that occurs, that 100% falls squarely on my shoulders. I've got to make sure that I'm crystal clear with our communication, and those mistakes cannot happen, especially when the stakes are so big. In particular, we pride ourselves on being great in situations. I feel like we've done a pretty decent job over 2 years, but unfortunately, it came at like the most inopportune time.
Yeah.
In a time where you don't get a mulligan.
Yeah.
And it
Facts.
really hurt us.
Yeah, it did. It hurt like shit.
And in regards to the play calling, I would have no problem.
Oh, no.
Handing that over to Nathaniel Hackett.
No.
That's how much confidence I have in him.
Don't do that.
And I think, like I've told you guys before, it's such a collaborative effort, not only with him, but with Adam Sinovich, with Luke Getzey, with all our guys. So our process, I think, is very, very efficient on offense, and Nathaniel heads that up. But in regards to will that happen, that's something that I think we'll continue to talk about over the course of this offseason.
No.
And if it's best served for me to give that up for the benefit of the team, that's exactly what will happen.
Bill Huber.
Hey, Matt, going back to that.
Okay, I don't like that. I mean, no, fuck that, man. We brought you in here, bro, because you are an offensive, young coordinator, genius, wizard, calling plays and shit like that, or like designing the offense. So I don't want him giving up the play call, but I do like the fact that he's open to doing it, because the last guy, Mike McCarthy, was like notoriously like very much opposed to not giving up the play call, and he did give it up for like fucking 4 games or some shit, like one year, and when it didn't fix anything immediately, he like panicked and snatched it right back. But in his most recent stint in Dallas, he gave it up, and he allowed the offensive coordinator to call plays. Like, Dallas didn't look so great. I mean, they lost a quarterback, and that's an interesting conversation I like to have. Like, what is Dallas going to do with their quarterback situation? But Trailer Court 69 says, I think the Packin thing was a bit much. I get the fact that the defense was not great last year, but his first year and this year, when we had a top 10 defense, or I think he meant we had a top 10 defense. I think between last year and this year's NFC Championship decision making on defense is what did him in. Look, man, I made my case earlier. I said I'm not a Packin apologist, so I'm not gonna make excuses for him. But what I will say is, like, I think, I'm not surprised they fired Packin. And if you ask me, I would have fired his ass last year, like literally right after the NFC Championship game was finished. Well, maybe not right after. I would have probably watched it again just to like make sure I know I want to fire this dude, or I would have actually brought him into the facility, and I would have sat down and I would have watched the game with him, and like at every point where like something fucked up happened, I would have been like, pause the tape, and I'm like, what were you thinking here? Like, why would you? What the fuck? And at the end of that game, I would just write how many times I said what the fuck, how many times I said like, this was good, and then I would have just been like, dude, look at how many times I said what the fuck. Like, if you were me, wouldn't you fire yourself? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I just would have fired him on the spot, because to me, the NFC Championship game in San Francisco was like a fireable offense, like straight up. Now, what he did this season, I thought might be enough, but at the same time, I understand, because as LaFleur said, there are certain times in the game where you just can't have critical mistakes. And he had one too many in this game, and he also had one too many just in his career, you know what I'm saying, with the Packers. So I'm not surprised, and I'm not mad. If they would have kept him, I don't think I would have been mad if they kept him either, because I would have understood that, like, showing like the turnaround, I would have understood, like, okay, we're gonna keep this guy, and we think that he did maybe he did enough in that moment to kind of like, save his job, I guess, so to speak. So I mean, but hey, man, I don't think it was too bad, to be honest with you. I don't think it was too bad that they fired him. I completely understand why they did it. So, I'm just curious, like, who are they gonna bring in next? You know what I'm saying? I think his play calling is amazing, but I can see if from his point of view what carries it will always. Well, I'm sorry, I fucking butchered that. I think his play calling is amazing, but I can see it from his point of view. Carries it will allow him to handle seeing all elements of the team during the game, because I think he's so involved with offense. Took his attention away from. I mean, you're talking about LaFleur now, and I mean that makes some sense, but at the same time, it's like, dude, this shit has been working really fucking well. You know what I mean? Like, you got 13-3 in back-to-back seasons. Your offense looked really good in year 1. It looked freaking stupendous in year 2. So, like, honestly, year 3 is trending even better. Like, I expect it to look even better in year 3, as crazy as that sounds. I honestly do. Aaron Rodgers at the helm or not, I expect his offense to look even better in year 3, more fluid, more consistent. So I don't want to see him give it up. I can understand why you say he needs to, like, be more focused on the game, but, like, in a situation like what happened at the end of the half in the Tampa Bay game, is like, you're watching, your eyeballs are on it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's looking at some shit, on the iPad or something. Like, he was fucking watching it. So all he has to do is just, like, be situationally aware enough to be like, let me make sure I have somebody there to call the timeout, like someone standing right next to the referee or the line judge, or I need to be standing right next to an official. So if I don't like what's happening here, and maybe he just needs to hire somebody to, or have someone on the staff, like, remind him, like, yo, in the games, in these critical moments, this is your job on game day. You need to keep me aware of what the fuck is going on. Alex66 was Packin. I just want to say real quick, I really appreciate the fact that people are coming in the chat and they saying what's packing. Like, that's how I want y'all to come in the chat, man. When y'all come in the chat, I need the what's packing first and foremost. That's how you announce yourself. So I just want to say thank y'all to all of my freaking Packer backers, or whatever. I don't know. Like, I guess we could call y'all the Packer backers for now. I don't know if other people who aren't fans of the Packers, if they're going to be called the Packer backers, but you know what I'm saying? Y'all the Packer backers for now. You know what I mean? I appreciate y'all jumping in with the what's packing. Like, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. All right, let's finish this interview. Matt LaFleur, he's speaking to the media for the first time since firing his defensive coordinator.
Playing at the end of the half, Tom Silverstein reported that was your call to go man there. I know post game, you blamed it on the call, which makes all of us think that it was Pettine's fault.
What?
I guess A, is that what happened there? And B, if you leave people think that it was Pettine's fault and it wasn't, is that kind of hurts your message about accountability?
What?
Yeah, but bottom line is, all calls go through me, so I don't care who makes the call. It's all my fault. Bottom line.
What?
I'm responsible for every play call, offense, defense, special teams.
What?
That every call goes through me. So if I'm ever unhappy with the call, I have the ability to do something.
Wow.
That's all I'm going to really say about that.
Wow. Are you kidding me? That is a shocker. Wait, exactly, bro. What? What? Are you kidding me? Could you not hear it, Trailer Court, or are you just as mind blown as I am? Like, when you say, what did he just say? Did you hear it, or are you just mind blown? Like, I'm mind blown. The fact that a reporter asked him if being in... What the fuck, dog? Yo. Hey, yo. Are you kidding me? The fact that a reporter asked him if that it was reported, or that this rumor, or to believe Okay, so the reporter asked him, basically, it was tweeted out that, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna go back and play it again for you guys, man.
Bottom line is,
As some, I guess,
Bill Huber.
hey Matt, going back to that play at the end of the half, Tom Silverstein reported that was your call to go man there. I know post game, you blamed it on the call, which makes all of us think that it was Pettin's fault. As some, I guess,
Wow.
A, is that what happened there? And B, if you leave people think that it was Pettin's fault and it wasn't, is that kind of hurts your message about accountability?
Wow.
yeah, bottom line is,
Wow, bro. So yes. So Tom Silverstein, one of the reporters for the Packers, tweeted out that I guess the call to be in man defense was Matt LaFleur's decision. And I just finished saying how Matt LaFleur ultimately has the last say on what goes down on game day. And to his credit, his response is, everything runs through me. So if I don't like something, I can change it, which is true. But bruh, if that was his specific, what is that true? Yes, that is. I don't know, and that's the thing here. We can't really confirm it. You know what I'm saying? Because LaFleur had an opportunity to say yes or no, and his response was not a yes or no response. His response is, at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. Because ultimately, everything runs through me anyway. So whether he said it or whether I said it or someone else said it, the secondary coach said, let's go, man. If I didn't like it, I can change it. Which honestly, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I feel like, does that mean he actually, for him not to give the direct answer and say yes or no, I can confirm, or no, I can't confirm. Like to say no, that's not the case. Like, for him to give a non-direct answer, I'm trying to figure out if he's like, by way of default, like by omission, not saying, I'm trying to figure out, is he saying that it was his fault, or is he saying it was Pettin's fault? You know what I mean? Like, because, if people lie by omission all the time. The reason, all right, Alex66, we'll see you in a minute, bro. The reason I asked if it's true, then in reality, this isn't on Pettin. Exactly. And are you asking if it's true that LaFleur has the final say so on everything, or you're saying, is it true that LaFleur was the one who asked them to be, who put them in man defense? Because, it's definitely true that the head coach has final say so on everything. If the head coach doesn't like what's being called, or defensively, he can go to the defensive coordinator and say, look, stop running this shit. Which honestly, and now I'm starting to kind of contradict myself a little bit, because I really do like Matt LaFleur as a head coach, like offensively. But to me, this puts like some onus for how this defensive poor performance is. This puts a lot of the onus on him. Now, granted, you hire a guy, you want to be able to leave it in his hands. You want to be able to say, my defensive coordinator is a competent, smart person who's capable of handling this. But at the end of the day, as he said, if you don't like what you see, LaFleur has the final say. He can go to Pettin, who's standing right there on the fucking sideline, and say, Mike, buddy, hey, the fuck are you doing? Stop running this shit. And that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? So, but if in fact, yeah, I want to too, but it seems like we're not going to really get, you can take the reporter who tweeted it, you can take his word for it. He said it was LaFleur's call. That's what the reporter said. Now, why would the reporter make that shit up? And it's not even like he said it that day. He's now had some time to get to put the information together or to find this out. And maybe Pettin spoke to him off the record like, hey, this is some fucking bullshit. They fired me for basically that call essentially, and it wasn't even my fucking call. Like I can understand why, yeah, like, man, that's kind of controversial. And honestly, if that was LaFleur's call, that is kind of a bitch move to fire Pettin for that. Like, obviously, in the minds of everybody who's watching this situation unfold, that call is going to be like one of the main things that people are going to think is the reason why this dude got fired. So if that call, and that could be honestly one of the main reasons, even though I did put a lot of the blame on Rodgers as far as like he's supposed to be able to get over the hump, and I feel like this is why you have a Hall of Fame all-time great quarterback, like if not in the most critical moments to make the play and to be able to get points off of 3 turnovers. Like, yes, I do put a lot of the loss on Rodgers for that reason more than any other player or whatever. But like that specific play at the end of the half, yeah, that was a very critical play. You know what I mean? They could have eventually overcame that play, obviously, but because they didn't get blown out by like 2 scores or no shit like that. But yeah, I mean that was a major play, bro. Like, so if LaFleur is the guy who put them in off and put them in man, and then he's not taking specific accountability for that, saying yes, it was my call. Yeah, I fucked up. Like, and I feel like maybe if it was his call, he would just say that, right? Because he's a pretty accountable guy, or at least he's shown to be pretty accountable. But if that's the case, then like, why would he say, yeah, I'm assuming that I don't know. That's hard, man. That's hard to kind of parse out because he didn't say, yeah, that was my call, or he didn't say, no, it wasn't my call. So it's like, I mean, why wouldn't you just say, no, it wasn't my call? No, that's not true. Why wouldn't you just say that? Because obviously we were all thinking it's Pettin's call in the first place. So if you just say, no, I didn't call man defense, we just go back to thinking it's Pettin. And whether it was not Pettin, maybe it was the defensive backs coach who was like, yeah, I think we should do man defense here. Like, I don't know, man. That's interesting because if it's not, why were you stepping on your defense coordinator's toes and not letting him handle it? Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it's like Pettin had, and see now, yeah, dude, this is so tricky, man. This shit is kind of messy. It's actually kind of fucking messy now, honestly.
I don't care who makes the call. It's all my fault. Bottom line.
So I like him taking
for every play
like
call, offense, defense, special teams.
Yeah.
And that every call goes for me. So if I'm ever unhappy with the call, I have the ability to do something about it. And that's all I'm gonna really say about that.
He seemed a little pissed about that though. Did you have a
chance to talk to Aaron Rodgers before he left town? Did you do an exit interview with Aaron? And where was he at after this loss?
I did have a chance to sit down and talk to Aaron. He's so disappointed. Obviously, it's tough to get to that point and to finally have that game in Lambeau and to come up short is extremely disappointing. And
Yeah, tell me about it.
He's grieving like everybody else, the coaches, the players. But I do think there's a lot of optimism moving forward, and that's exactly what we got to do as an organization, as a coaching staff, as players. You've got to take every experience, both good and bad, and learn from it. And you put it in the rear view and you move forward. And we understand that next year is going to have its own set of unique challenges and expectations, and it's going to be difficult. And we're going to attack it the same way we have. It's going to be a one game at a time mentality, but I think everything starts with our off season. How these guys go back and how they train, how they take care of their bodies, so that they can come back in the best possible shape, best possible position to be the very best version of themselves. And I think from a coaching staff standpoint, we're going to look at everything critically. What are the things that we can do better? how can we have uh, great cohesion within our staff? How can we have crystal clear communication within our staff? Because that trickles all down to our players. So this time of the year gives you a great opportunity to go back and reflect, to analyze, and really look at everything you need to do to be even better, because it is going to be a great challenge next year, and one that our guys will definitely look forward to facing.
I mean, okay. I mean, like, I mean, I don't have much to say about that. I'm still kind of flabbergasted and shocked about this Mike Pettin end of the half call. I mean, he said he spoke to Aaron, and I guess Aaron's hurt and he's gonna take some time off. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna address the fucking trade rumors or any of that kind of shit. It was like, wow, man, that was a rocker, man. That was a freaking that one was heavy right there. Jeez Louise. Jeez the fucking Louise, man. Wow. I'm honestly shocked. I'm honestly shocked, man. I honestly am shocked about that, for real. All right, let's keep rolling through this presser, though.
And to follow up on Steve's question at the beginning there, what qualities and philosophies are you looking for in your next defensive
Good
coordinator?
question.
Yeah, I will get into that later.
Yeah.
I don't want to give the answers to the test, so to speak. There's certainly some characteristics that are non-negotiables. I've talked to a lot of guys. I've talked to just getting not only candidates, but also just getting some counsel from other coaches that I've got a lot of respect for, be that head coaches and or D coordinators. And we have a pretty clear process of and a clear vision of what we're looking for. But I think that'll come out here in the near future when we make a decision.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the Packers are going to think about changing their defensive. I'm wondering if they're going to think about changing their defense. Last week I had I think it was Rick LM was giving me the rundown about the different styles of defense, right? The 3-3-5 is what the Carolina Panthers run, and that's going to be the new hot trendy defense. Rick said he didn't think the Packers really had the personnel to execute the 3-3-5 that well. The Panthers famously run the 3-3-5. I guess they're kind of like the first team to really use it a lot, or use it the most and the most effectively. They have a really good defense, and they were able to give the Packers all kinds of fits. So LaFleur being kind of tight to the vest about what he's looking for in his next defensive coordinator. Me personally, I want them to go young. A lot of people on Twitter or they want Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips like 60 fucking years old, like 70 years old or some shit, man. Like I don't want an old guy. I want somebody kind of young, like LaFleur. I want somebody like in their 40s, at least 50s. You know what I mean? Somebody who's sort of current in all of their defensive ideas aren't like molded around a version of the NFL that isn't really here today. You know what I mean? So the NFL is so new offensively and schematically what offense are trying to do. I feel like some of these older guys, yeah, they're going to always be good, what they do. They're smart. They're not dumb. Of course, you've been a coach for 30, 40 years or whatever the case may be. Like, but I just think like innately, I just want a young mind, someone who's all of their defensive that they've coordinated have been in this version of the NFL, not, over the course of a 40-year career, how the NFL has changed so much in the last 5-10 years. Like I want a guy who's became an assistant head coach in the last 5 and 10 years and has been doing this, or maybe some guy from college who understands the college game and how to defend the college game well enough, because there are so many college principles in the NFL today offensively. Like, that's what I would really like to see. Rick LM, what's packing, my friend? Welcome back to the show. I was just talking about you. I've got a dream that we exploit the Niners' desire to match the Stafford splash trade, Rodgers for Warner, Debo in their first. Oh my gosh. I'm surprised you didn't want to remind us that Mike Evans is a bitch. I really thought you were going to say I had a dream. I had a dream that Mike Evans is the biggest bitch or something. I thought you were going to, hit me with some Mike Evans is a bitch talk or something. But, because I know how much you just love calling him a bitch. But, dude, honestly, look, man, I'm surprised that you are actually on board with the Rodgers trade scenario, because a lot of fans on Twitter are not at all. They are freaking, like, their heads will explode if the Packers even thought about trading Rodgers. And anytime anyone mentions it, like myself, they come at me like, a pack of ravenous wolves, or like the townsfolk with the pitchforks and shit, or the tiki torches or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, but hey, man, if the Niners did something like that, if they wanted to give us Warner, Debo Samuels, and their first round pick, which is going to be a high draft pick, a top 15 pick, I would imagine. Honestly, I think they would still need to definitely throw in more. I'd want them to throw in a second. I mean, Stafford they just traded Stafford, and look, I don't want to get too far into that because I want to finish this press conference. But Stafford just got traded for three first. What was the Stafford deal? Hold on, what was the Stafford deal? Stafford trade. I think it was like 3 first rounders or some shit, right? Wasn't it? Like, come on, like, if you're telling me you can get that for Matthew Stafford, fucking Rodgers is worth 5. And I know you're saying Warner. Oh, come on, shut the fuck up. This is so annoying. I hate these. And I know you're saying this Warner kid is like gonna be like maybe a fucking, have all pro talent, which, okay, that does offset things a lot. And you're getting Debo Samuel. Okay, so I guess you're getting 2 young the Warner kid is a superstar. Or he's a superstar and he's young. So, okay, I get that. And then Debo Samuel's like, all right, in this offense, yeah, I like that too. And but I still maybe want like a third, maybe a third, because Debo Samuel a first rounder. So, okay, maybe you are getting 3 first rounders, right? But it's still, if Stafford got 2 or 3, and I'm trying to look it up here. I'm trying to look up like Matthew Stafford to be traded for 2 first round picks. So if you get Stafford for 2, we get 2. Apparently the Rams inquired about trading for Rodgers. Really? Wow. Okay, Jim Leonard, his defense at Wisconsin have been very good, and his scheme is similar to Pettin's, so not much turnover. But we don't want that, though. I don't think they want a more Pettin scheme. They might want the 4-3. I mean, they might want the 3-4. But I don't think they want a guy similar to Pettin. I think that's what they want to get away from. Whatever the fuck Pettin, his whole idea, his ideology, Pettin's ideology about defense and how to defend certain things. But to your point, Rick, this Jim Leonard dude, he's a college guy, so he'll be used to defending guys. He'll be used to defending these college schemes, and the Wisconsin defense has been pretty freaking good. And they just don't have the access to the athletes and the freaks as some of the other bigger schools do. So I think it's going to be harder for them to keep up, But yeah, schematically and for the talent that they have, I feel like Wisconsin has been really good. So, and I've heard Jim Leonard, and he's a hometown guy. I don't know if he's from Wisconsin, but he's coached at the University of Wisconsin. So it's like he's already like in the state, he's already like around. So I think that would look nice. And and I don't think that LaFleur was ever really big on Pettin. I don't think LaFleur ever really wanted to keep Pettin, but I think it was a condition of the job. They strongly urged him to keep Pettin around, and he gave him a fair shot. I guess like you said, the first year he was like, okay, like Pettin did an okay job, right? His first year. And the second year wasn't great, but I guess he was still under contract. He figured, hey, man, we'll give you one more shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to get you some better pieces. We're going to, see how things come around. and we believe in you a little bit. You showed us enough. So, Packin got 3 years, or was it 4 years? No, I think his second year. Yeah, it was his second year when LaFleur came on. So 3 years. I mean, hey man. But you said apparently the Rams inquired about trading for Rodgers. That would 2 firsts, a second, and Goff. But it's the Packers wouldn't want Goff. That's the thing. That was dumb. Those Rams first will be late round picks, so they're basically 2s. But you never know. I mean, you're assuming that Stafford plays. Stafford's had some injury history, so that for one. And then you're assuming that Stafford's gonna be that, but I guess Stafford is better technically. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, Stafford is better than Goff. I'll give him that. So they're gonna be late. They're gonna be late first rounders. So, but that division is tough though. That's a tough division, man. That's a tough division. Even with a good quarterback, you still might not. The Niners took a big step back this year. So if the Niners are at full strength, I don't even know if the Rams, even make the playoffs this year, and then the Cardinals will be a year better. And then Seattle is always going to be in the mix, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, okay, yeah, Stafford trade. Yes, that was for the Stafford trade. Yeah, I don't know what I don't really know what the Rams are going to look like. And then I think when you have a good season, right? The next year, your schedule technically is supposed to get harder, so It's gonna be interesting. Let's finish up this press conference. We got about 9 minutes. Oh, we're actually only 9 minutes in. Jesus.
Coach, along those lines, I look forward to hearing the word aggressive from yourself and your new defensive coordinator at least once. Next, in that regard, a couple of times this year, you mentioned, I guess, passive play, whether it's on third down or what have you. How much? And I know again, you don't want to give away answers to the test, but how much of it is an attitude adjustment? Not just generic aggressiveness, but you've mentioned many times the swarm into the football, 11 hats in the ball, etc. How much of that are you looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at the great defenses around the league, there's a certain mentality that comes with that, and it's not necessarily what you're calling, but how you're playing every call. I do think that
but to that effect, to what he just said. That's why I kind of was that's why I was willing to give Packin a little bit more of a pass, because it doesn't matter, man. You can yell at a dude till you're blue in the fucking face, man. You know what I'm saying? You could make a dude run laps and all the other kind of shit, but it's at the end of the day, he's calling the plays, but the players gotta make the plays. They gotta execute. And I guess you could say that's why a coach has to be able to inspire his players and kind of get in their face and make them do better, I guess, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day also, these are grown effing men, you know what I'm saying? These are grown freaking men who are getting paid millions of dollars. If that isn't enough incentive for you, to go out there and you're playing in the freaking NFC Championship game and you're on a Super Bowl team with a Hall of Fame quarterback, how much more motivation do you need to do your damn job? So it's what the fuck do you want from Packin? You know what I'm saying? What do you want? What do you want him I don't know, I don't know. To me, it's can you really blame the coach for that? I guess you have to blame the coach for that, because ultimately that's what the coach is there to do. But it's fuck, man. I don't know. It's a mess. It's a kind of a messy thing. It's a messy situation.
We can continue to educate our players and be great in those situations, so that it's, if it's a third down and short, that you're not playing way off, and you don't want to give up any freebies. You want to make people earn every inch out there on the grass. And so I think there was a lot of great things that our defense did this year. A lot of great things.
Yeah, facts.
And
I agree.
Certainly, really not even defensively, but offensively and on special teams. There was great things in all three phases, but is there room for improvement in every area? Absolutely.
You're damn Skippy.
For improvement from us as coaches, no doubt about it.
You're
It
damn.
starts with us. So to answer your question, I do think that there is a certain mentality that you have to have and that you have to bring on a daily basis, and it starts in practice, and then when you get your process right, when you get your preparation right, that leads to more consistency on the football field on Sundays.
All right, look, man, I'm gonna take a real quick commercial break. We got these pre-rolls on. Let me see what happens. Nope. Dude, I don't know what the freak it is. Like, but every time I do these commercial things, like most of the time they don't actually show commercials. So like we're gonna just keep fucking chugging along here to the next question.
Jason Moldy.
Hey, Matt, I had another question, but just quickly to follow up on Pete's question. You just called the plays for the highest scoring offense in the league. As of now, you don't think you need to give up play calling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that, but
Okay.
that's just how much confidence I have in our offensive staff that, whether it's myself or Happy calling the plays, I don't see it being any different. I think too many times that these guys don't get the credit that they deserve, and he is such a great offensive coordinator, really laying the table and making sure everything is just on point for us to go out there and execute at the highest level. And he does such a great job, and I just don't think he gets the recognition he deserves.
Okay, I just didn't want to misconstrue what you had said. After the game, you were very unambiguous with your position on Aaron Rodgers being your quarterback. Is that something that has been discussed among you and Goody and Mark? And do you feel confident that he is going to be your quarterback not only in 2021 but moving forward beyond that?
Ooh, Jason Wilde.
Trick question. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you're talking about the guy that is going to win the MVP of the league. Like, we're not in this position without him. So,
Okay.
I couldn't be happier with just not only his performance, but how he
All right.
led our football team. All the little things he does within that locker room to ensure that everybody is locked in, focused, ready to go. So, yeah, absolutely, he will be here for a long time. I know I said that before, but for a long time.
All right. Okay. Matt LaFleur tripling down on his comments about Aaron Rodgers and him going to be here for a long time. He said, "But why all these freaking rumors, bro? Where did the rumors come from? Rumors don't just start." And even my man Rick LM, right? Was it Rick LM or was it Trailer Court, right? Trailer Court says apparently the Rams even inquired about a trade. So it's like, why do you even fucking pick up the phone, bro? The secretary says, we have the Rams on the line for Rodgers trade, just say, yeah, hang that shit up. Like, fuck them. Well, I mean, of course you got. I guess you have to pick up the phone because that's just disrespectful. But it's like, come on, like, I don't believe that these rumors, right, would be making their way around the rumor mill if there wasn't some truth to it and if there wasn't some fucking smoke. There's smoke there. There's got to be fire somewhere unless somebody's just blowing smoke up our asses, out of thin air. And I agree with you, Rick LM. I didn't want to say it at the time because we were listening to the audio and I'm trying to get through this press conference. But maybe there's no need to rush. We're all here. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. But I agree with you, man. And I don't know if Kevin King, if the injuries robbed him of his speed. Like, he had shoulder injuries more so than anything. I don't think he had like lower leg injuries, did he? So I'm a little confused about that comment or that train of thought. I feel like the injuries kind of robbed him of his physicalness because he had the shoulders, right? The shoulder injury. I feel like he would have, he's not able to be. He might be more concerned about re-injuring that, like his tackling technique. Like, you can see he doesn't really wrap up and things like that. But Oh, he had a quad injury too. Okay, all right. The Rams trade wasn't good for us. Goff doesn't help our cap, and there's first likely. Yeah, look, and like I said, if the Packers move on from Rodgers, it won't be until after June first anyways. You know what I mean? They're not gonna do it until after June 1st because that's when it's most beneficial to the cap. If they do it now, it actually makes no sense. But if they wait till June 1st or June 2nd or whenever, which I think complicates things because I feel like teams are gonna want to have this part figured out. If they're gonna want to bring in a guy like Rodgers, I guess maybe they would talk about it with the other organization. Like, yeah, we gotta just wait. We're open to doing it, but we want to wait until after June 1st because then we have more cap space. So, well, you would have to remember those rumors started immediately after the loss. If he really wanted out and wasn't happy, he would have said it himself. Rodgers has never been a guy to sugarcoat anything. Yeah, I don't know though. I don't know if he would come out and say that though. I mean, Rodgers, he doesn't really, and I think he does kind of sugarcoat things. Honestly, I think Rodgers speaks cryptically a lot. I don't think he says things he doesn't mean, but I think he does kind of speak in code and like hidden messages, and I think he does do that quite a bit, honestly. And I don't think he would come out and start a shitstorm like that in the press conference immediately after the game and be like, yeah, I'm thinking about, or even on Pat McAfee. Like, I think Rodgers, I think that would hurt his brand, and I don't think he wants to hurt his brand, and I don't think, yeah, he's a pretty honest dude, but at the same time, I think that's like a Watson. That's what Watson's doing. He's flexing his muscle. Rodgers doesn't need to do that. You know what I mean? I don't think he would come out and say that publicly. Yeah.
Hey Matt, what do you have planned for an off-season program, and do you have any idea what that's going to look like, whether it's in person or virtual?
Yeah, I think we're definitely fully prepared for a virtual off season if that is the case. Certainly, we hope that we get the players back in the building, but that's out of our control. So we'll take it. We'll be prepared for either whatever happens in regards to whatever the rules are. I thought our coaching.
Fair enough. Good point, Trailer Court. He did, but when did he ever say? Did Rodgers ever say while McCarthy was still the coach though that I feel like we need new leadership? I feel like after McCarthy left, he did say some things about accountability and whatever, without specifically saying Mike McCarthy's name, without saying McCarthy wasn't accountable and shit like that. But I don't think he ever said it while he was. Now I could be completely wrong. You know what I mean? And I could just be escaping me at the moment. But I don't remember him. Now I do remember him after the championship game where they played the Seahawks, where he was like visibly and even audibly like pissed about the play calling. I do remember that, and I do think to this day that game is the game that sort of broke the camel's back, and I think that's the game that made Rodgers lose all respect for Mike McCarthy.
The staff did an unbelievable job taking advantage of the virtual offseason this past year. I thought our players certainly improved. I think that we definitely have a better handle on how to attack that. I think we can do it even better than we did a year ago. I mean, that was the first time for many of us being video editors, if you will, making our own tapes, cutting them up, pushing them out to the players' iPads, and just really excited to whatever it may be to get back in communication with our players. That's what it's all about. That's what we live for, is being able to communicate with these guys on a daily basis. That's what makes this job so much fun. It's those relationships, it's the interactions, it's seeing people improve. There's nothing that fires you up more as a coach. So, whatever.
Maybe winning. Maybe winning should fire you up a little bit more, Matt.
Racial.
I would hope.
Hey, Matt, who did you all consult with before that field goal that made it 31-26 late in the Tampa game. And is that something you do again, Matt, if you were faced with that same situation?
You know, I've had this conversation a bunch. You know, trying to go back in hindsight, and it's easy to second guess everything, especially when things don't work out. But you know, we've got a guy upstairs that I rely on.
Fire his ass.
Communication and
fire that guy.
In that moment, it was like, well, you can do either. So it just felt like it was the best thing to do to give us the best opportunity to win the game was to kick a field goal, because regardless of whether, let's say you score and get the 2-point conversion, you still have to stop them. Regardless, I get it. It's a tie game. But no matter how you cut it, you had to get a stop defensively.
That's true, though.
I thought our defense was playing at a really high level at that moment.
If you want to win.
We figured that they would come out and try to run the ball. Obviously, that the first play prior to the 2-minute, that's kind of a freebie where we actually were expecting a pass, because there was like 2:03 or whatever on the clock. And so that's a freebie. They can do whatever they want to do, whether it's a pass or a run. We predicted it would be a pass. Certainly they passed it, got 8 yards. May have jumped off sides on purpose. I don't know. But we did that because it's 2nd and 1. The odds of them getting it on whether they go for it on 4th down, which I don't know if they would or not, but you have a minimum of 2 downs to get 1 yard. Figured that's a pretty high probability for an offense. And so now you're back at that point where it's 1st and 10. We still have all 3 timeouts.
What? Did he jump off sides on purpose?
Defense, we got him to a 3rd down.
The fuck?
To a 3rd down, and unfortunately, on 3rd down, was there a tugging up of the jersey? Absolutely, there was, or of the shirt. I feel like there was a lot of plays that there was a lot of tugs going on throughout the course of the game. I mean, shoot, you look at the interception right before the end of the half. There was definitely a slingshot right there by the defensive back. And I'm not sitting here making excuses. It is what it is. It didn't work out. You know, I'll own it. But if I had to do it again, if it's 4th and goal from the 8-yard line, we're kicking the field goal. If it's 4th and goal from the 5, I think we have a different discussion. It's just, you got to play the percentages. We had 3 shots at it, gained no yards, and that's how it is. Some people will agree, some people will disagree, but in my heart, that's what I felt like was the best decision for us, and unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Okay, Mr. LaFleur doubling down, tripling down. He not budging, and you know, like, I guess I kind of gotta respect his his chutzpah. You know what I mean? His just like, hey man, what the fuck? I kind of respect that, but I also think, like, in the back of my head, yeah, like if he's in that situation again, like a friend of mine said, you got to go into that situation. Yeah, I know you got to get a stop, and I know technically you're kind of playing to tie in that situation, but yeah, at this point, a tie is better to just go for the touchdown, get it, and like people are saying, we get it and then be tied. Like you said, you still got to get the stop and then get another score to win the game in that little bit amount of time. Okay, but like, even if your case that you're trying to make is like you counting on your defense, to me, like, going for it even makes more sense, because at least now you're putting your defense in a better position to like make a play or to make a stop. And if they make the stop, to have less time and to put Tom under some more pressure, maybe get a fucking safety. Who knows? Like, that's better. So I think, like, I understand him, like, standing his ground, so to speak, and not trying to, want to backtrack and maybe look dumb. But I think you just look more dumb digging your heels in on this one, because, like, honestly, if you think about it, I feel like and it's like, and who the fuck is this guy up in the booth that you're paying to give you the statistics on this shit and to help you make the call, and he's going to say, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, dude, I'm paying you to like give me your opinion. You need to tell me, if it was me, I do this, Now, as the head coach, you got to either choose to go with my decision or to go against my decision. But this is what you're paying me for. But on top of that, who is that guy? And fire his ass too. Like, fire that dude. Like, if you ask me, that guy needs to be fired. The guy, the go for it or not guy, go for it guy. I'm just gonna call him the go for it guy. Like, fire his ass, because he's the real reason we lost this game. The go for it guy, whoever this mysterious person is who told LaFleur, well, either way, doesn't matter. Like, no, you need to freaking be. If this was like, come on, man. That's the real reason the Packers lost. This go for it guy, whoever the fuck he is, he made the wrong choice. He should have told LaFleur, go for it, baby. Let's go for it. And honestly, they should have went into that situation thinking it was 4-down territory the whole time, like, honestly. I understand him, to be honest. You still need to get a stop Brady, regardless. You get the TD there and then the 2-point, then you still got to stop Brady from getting 40 yards on the field goal. So if you gamble, you stop him after your own field goal. Now you got a chance to let Rodgers win. Look, yeah, and I completely understand the logic there. And I even made the case that it makes more sense, especially when you factor in he just saw Rodgers not gain a fucking yard, not do anything. And but again, you guys didn't run the ball. I think, look, I guess, like, I gave Matt LaFleur 25% of the loss. Maybe he deserves a little bit more. Maybe he deserves more, like 30, and maybe Rodgers deserves less. I gave Rodgers 50%, and maybe I'm being super hard on Rodgers, and maybe Rodgers only deserves like 30%, or maybe he only deserves a quarter. What the fuck? I can't go from 50 to a quarter. I can't cut his blame in half, but maybe Rodgers doesn't really deserve all of the blame. But the reason why I gave him so much is because at the end of the day, he had more than enough opportunities to make something happen to win that game. But trying to be a little more objective here. Yes, LaFleur in that situation, the 4th down thing, he didn't even go into the situation. He didn't even try to run the ball one time, He didn't even try to run the ball one time. Like, you got freaking A.J. Dillon, you got Jamal Williams, you got this Daphne guy. You could have did some different kinds of plays. You could have did something where you ran the ball, some kind of option or some shit. I don't know. Like, fake the run at least, Like, one of my favorite goal line plays is when you put a running back in the backfield, you fake the handoff, and you have the quarterback either just turn and throw, or you have the quarterback sort of fake it and boot out opposite of the running back, and then you have the tight end acting like he's on a block, and then just slip off the block and then just go into the flat. Like, usually that play, I feel like in the red zone works like fucking 70% of the time. And when you got Rodgers and you got a guy like Tunyon or Big Dog, I feel like it probably goes up to like 80-90%. Like, that's the play I would have liked to see them run. They didn't run it. But you got to go into that situation thinking to yourself, this is 4-down territory. Like, we can run some plays, like a running play, just to get us 3 or 4 yards closer to make it a more manageable 4th down and not be a 4th and goal, 4th and 8, which I do think isn't that, and you just saw them, like, I understand on 4th and 8, like, yeah, there's not a lot of plays that you like feel so certain about, especially after you just watched them stop it 4 times. Now, granted, on 2nd and goal, Lazard was wide the fuck open. Rodgers didn't hit him like he should have. He was focused on Devontae Adams, which is like, why would you not look somewhere else? Because the defense knows that you're going to be looking for Devontae Adams. So, like pump fake it to Devontae, and then, it's like, there's just so many things that happened. It's so frustrating, man. So fucking frustrating. Yeah, the game was lost after not running after those turnovers. Yeah, Rick LM, dude, you're like my fucking, soulmate on these goddamn opinions, because I totally agree. Like, if I was going to take less blame away from Rodgers, I'd probably take 20% of that 50, so drop his blame from like 50 to like 45 or like, 35, I guess. But I still think he's got to have 45% of the blame. I give LaFleur another 5%, bump his blame up from 25 to 30. I give LaFleur more blame if, that makes somebody feel better or some shit, or makes, maybe that seems a little more sensible. But it's like, because, he should have ran the ball, man. I mean, they were down by 5 points in the end of the third quarter. Like, at this point, I understand when you're down by 18, you got to pass the ball and shit like that, but you cut that bitch in half. Like, you chopped a lot of that away. You went down from 18 to down by 5. Like, you can go back to your regular offense there. And honestly, they should have been trying to set up the play action pass to MVS. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff that went wrong. Yeah, he did do the one thing he said he wasn't going to do, and that was getting away from the run, which was the mistake he made the first game. You're absolutely right, and I would like for someone to bring that up in this freaking press conference. I would definitely bring that. If I was able to have access to these fucking press conferences, I would be asking the really tough fucking questions. Like, Mr. LaFleur, why did you get away from the run only down by 5 points at the end of the third quarter, and after the play action pass had been working so well, not just in this game, but for your offense the past 5-6 weeks? Why, sir? And after you had just ran for like 150 yards, like plus the past couple of weeks, why would you get away? They only ran the ball 16 times.
Hey, good morning, Matt. Looking at Marquez for a minute, what did you think of just how he finished the season, and how big, can an NFC Championship game like he had, have for him now going into the offseason after overcoming a little bit of adversity?
Yeah, I thought MVS had a tremendous game, and I talked to him right before we left and said, "Hey, man, that's the standard." And I thought he had so many great moments throughout the course of the year.
He did, though. It was a great game for MVS.
This football team, that in terms of his ability to stretch a field vertically, I think he can run by anybody in this league. And were there some tough moments of adversity for him? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We talked about that. But the one thing that I love about
Absolutely.
and about, I would say, all our guys, is their ability to respond and overcome adversity. He had some tough moments this year, and for him to stay persistent and be tough-minded, it's so awesome to watch a guy fight through some tough moments and come out on top.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
As a team,
He's got some mental toughness.
most disappointing thing, but I'm excited about his
I'll give him that.
I really am. I think we've all have a lot more confidence in him. I think he's got more confidence in himself.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll give him that. Like, he definitely battled through some tough times, but like, one thing I don't fucking like is MVS. He's a fucking streamer, bro. I actually saw him pop up on my feed on Twitch. I'm like, dude, you're fucking streaming during the season? Like, come on, bro. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed, especially like for him. Like Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, those dudes can stream during the season. Like, dude, you got too many drop passes and blown opportunities for you to be focusing on streaming. You need to have your goddamn nose in a fucking playbook, and you need to be spending all your extra time hitting the jugs machines, Mr. Butterfingers. The fuck? I was pissed off when I saw him streaming during the week of the NFC Championship game. This dude's he's on the stream. Like, what? That pissed me off, honestly.
What you saw from him in practice, where is he at in his development?
Yeah, I think he really did a nice job, and I thought he got more and more comfortable, obviously, as the year progressed. I think
First round pick. Where is Jordan at now after this season? I know he was inactive, but just what you saw from him in practice, where is he at in his development?
Yeah, I think he really did a nice job, and I thought he got more and more comfortable, obviously, as the year progressed. I think Luke Getsy does a tremendous job with him, always putting in that extra work post-practice. And I think that is absolutely critical for all young quarterbacks, is to make sure that their fundamentals, their footwork, because that is the foundation of great quarterback play, that stuff has to be on point. So again, just like every other player, the challenge for him is you got to continue to build upon much better because, it was unfortunate, especially with that position, but all positions, when you don't have a real off season where you can get the coaching, the details of the footwork, the details of the fundamentals. So it's tough to work on stuff when you're not quite sure. And yeah, you can show them on.
Look, man, and look, I'm gonna pause it real quick. LaFleur's talking about Jordan Love's development, but look, here's the thing. Everybody wants to say compare Devontae Adams and MVS's year threes. I understand why people want to say that, but completely different circumstances from Devontae Adams and MVS. First of all, in Devontae Adams' third year, he still had Randall Cobb on the team. They still had James Jones on the team, and they still had I don't think Jordy Nelson was on the team anymore, right? I think that was Jordy's. Was that Jordy's last year, or did Jordy come back for? Was Jordy Nelson still on the team that year, or was Jordy injured? I know they're pretty similar, but the thing, I know their numbers are similar, but the thing is like Devontae Adams wasn't. I just feel like the situations were a little bit different because he wasn't yet, he wasn't even, his role and MVS's role were different. To me, MVS was getting, I would like to look at the targets, honestly. And you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go do it. Let's go do it. ProFootballReference.com. Mr. Marquez Valdez Scantling. We're going to pull up your third-year statistics, and we're going to compare them to one. Yeah, look, and I'm going to run a 60-second ad break while I'm looking up these statistics, and I'm going to compare them. Let's see, Devontae Adams. Let's see. Mr. Adams. Let's go. Where we at? 1, 2, 3. 2016. And we gotta look up, and for reference, I gotta look up my man Jordy Nelson too. I gotta see where Jordy was at in this year. Okay, so yeah, like I said, Jordy Nelson was still on the team, ladies and gentlemen. In 2016, Jordy freaking Nelson was still on the team. And as a matter of fact, he had his best fucking year. 14 touchdowns. Actually, that wasn't his best. 11 was his best year. So it's like, come on, man. To compare Jordy's, so he had for all intents and purposes, MVS is supposed to be the Devontae Adams to what MVS is supposed to be, what Devontae Adams was for Jordy Nelson, his Robin basically. He's supposed to be the number 2 guy. I mean, Allen Lazard, he's developing into a really good receiver, but MVS they like to stretch the field. They want to stretch the field. The Packers want to stretch the field. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Devontae has more than 2 times the number of targets in year 3. Okay, I'm about to look it up. Okay, Devontae Adams, year 3. Bada bang. 121 targets. Marquez Valdez Scantling, year 3. 63 targets. But yeah, he's got a lot more targets. But honestly, I would argue the reasons why he doesn't have more targets is because he drops the fucking ball. And let's see. His catch percentage is 52%. And Devontae Adams in year 3, 62%. It's like, come on, that's a big difference, bro. That's a big freaking difference. Okay? That's a big freaking difference. 52% to 62%. That's a big difference, bro. So I would honestly say if Marquez wasn't dropping the ball so goddamn much, he'd probably have more targets. But because they can't trust him to, he's nowhere near the, like, from day one, Rodgers was raving about Devontae Adams, like, being a professional. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he had to learn, but Rodgers already could tell that Adams was going to be special, like, from day one, the way he carried himself. That's not the case with MVS, you know what I'm saying? So, like, and I think Adams clearly has more talent. Now, he doesn't have the same speed as MVS has, but, if MVS wasn't dropping the ball so much, sure, but 29.9 yards of reception, no, yeah, I agree with you. MVS, he has, to my fucking point. That's my fucking point. MVS had the most yards per reception than anybody in the NFL. More than Cheetah, more than Diggs, more than fucking Jefferson. MVS led the league in yards per reception at 20.9, which is astronomical. And yet, still, he only had 63 fucking targets. And that's with Lazard missing 2 fucking months. And that's with Adams missing 3 games. That tells you how much they don't trust him. If you're that explosive and you're missing your number 1 target for 3 games and you're missing the other guy on your off and you're missing Lazard for like 2 months and you still don't have the targets that someone with your talent should have, that tells you a lot about Marquez Valdes-Scantling as a wide receiver. To me, that's case closed. He's nowhere near Devontae Adams. Not even in year 3, even though you want to say the numbers are comparable, they should have been astronomical for him. He had the opportunities. He literally dropped the ball. Thusly, his numbers are closer to Adams, even though Adams had more targets, and Adams was probably not getting. Adams, I think at that time was definitely like Jordy Nelson was definitely like the deep threat. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Adams hadn't quite developed into that kind of a player yet. I mean, he still had 75 receptions, almost 1,000 yards, and 12 TDs. So I mean, he was definitely feasting. He was definitely feasting. Let me see what Jordy's average yards per target were in 2016. I mean, they had about the same yards per target. I mean, Jordy had like 30 more targets. He had 150 targets. I mean, shit, they were feasting though, man. These dudes, they were fucking feasting. 2016, yeah, it was a good year. I mean, offensively, yeah, dude, yeah, 2016. A lot of people thought Rodgers could have won MVP that year. All right, 2016, that was the freaking that was the NFC Championship game, right? No, yeah, 2016. Yeah, that was the year they got smoked by the fucking Atlanta Falcons, right? Yeah, that's a good team. Good offense. He fixes his drops. He's a monster. Yeah, you're damn right if he fixes. But that's a big if, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know Devontae Adams had some drop issues, but yeah, I said before the season, I said before the playoffs, I had a feeling MVS would redeem himself. He did. The dude had like 4 or 5 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. He definitely redeemed himself. Yes, and if he fixes his drop issues, that's a big freaking if. But yeah, if he can become a 65% guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, but at this current point in time, the dude 52% his rookie year, 46% in 2019, 52% this year. Currently, in 3 years worth of seasons, MVS catches the ball half the time that he drops it. Literally, career catch percentage is 50.5%. That is fucking atrocious. That is it's sickening. It's fucking sickening to be a professional, to be paid to catch the ball, and you only can catch the ball 50% of the time. Yeah, people wanted to give up on Devontae because they were pissed because Devontae showed so much promise. Yeah, they wanted to give up because he had big drops. I understand that. But even still, fans, because they were used to having such, good receiver play. But even still, objectively speaking, I'm going to look at this as objectively as I can. I mean, still, Adams, his rookie season, 57%. 2015, 53%. 2016, 62%. 2017, 63%. 2018, 65%. 2019, 65%. 2020, 77%. Like, okay, I get it. He had some drop issues, but I mean, like, he was around like league average. You know what I'm saying? We were just paying attention to it because he was our guy. I mean, oh man, Jesus Christ, man. But fucking look at Jordy Nelson, man. 70, 67, 66, 64. So I mean, Jordy Nelson for his career, with the Packers, he's around 65 and 66%. Devontae Adams for his career with the Packers, he's around 64%. Like, I feel like, let me just, like, who's another guy that people think is fucking amazing? Like Julio Jones, right? You know what I mean? Like, let's just look at Julio Jones catch numbers, Career, Julio Jones, 64%. Like, shit, let's fucking look up, let's look up Jerry fucking Rice. How about that? Let's look up Jerry fucking Rice, the greatest receiver of all time. And I'm just going to look up his career years. Jerry fucking Rice, 16 years for the San Francisco 49ers. Guess what his career catching average was? 64%. So it's like, come on, man. It's like he's average. He's on average. Like, Devontae Adams is 64% is about average, bro. Okay? 64% is about average. The greatest receiver of all time caught the ball at 64% of the time. Jerry freaking Rice. Devontae Adams. He's currently catching the ball in his career average 64%, like 64.8. Jerry Rice was actually 64.1. So technically, he's even better than Jerry Rice in his span of time playing with two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. He's caught the ball at a better percent clip. Now, am I trying to say that he's better than Jerry Rice? No. But what I'm trying to say is 50% is it's not. No, bro. I'm sorry. Like, and I'm going to make this a point, MVS versus Adams. I'm just saying, that's not acceptable, bro. 50% is not acceptable. That's not fair, though. MVS isn't getting a lot of short slants, a lot of MVS balls thrown his way, or deep balls that before this year era was super off talking on. Okay, I'll give you that. Rodgers himself admitted that he improved his accuracy a lot this year. But dude, that argument, like, this year, he still only caught the ball at 52%. Like, what the fuck do you want from me? Like, he's not doing it. Rodgers completed 70% of his passes. Statistically speaking, this was Rodgers' most accurate year of his career. Okay? And in year 3, when they were missing the other top 2 targets on this team for almost a full quarter of the season, 3 games, they were missing Adams and Lazard. That moves you into the number 1 spot, bro. And you still couldn't get it done. You still, and like I said, I'm not shitting on the guy because I believe that he can. Hopefully year 4, he starts catching the ball at 64%. Like, if he could just do, if he can give me 64%, this dude will become a superstar in this league. If he can do the league average 64%, he will become a superstar, and he will either get him a lot of money from the Packers, or he'll get a lot of money from a team with a lot of cap space that says, damn, this motherfucker, he could have 1,000 yards, 2,000. He could have MVS in this offense next year. If he catches the ball at 64% or even fucking 60%, bro, he could have 60, 70 catches, 1,100, 1,200 plus yards, and 10 TDs. I really believe he could put up Pro Bowl numbers, maybe even more, because he is the deep threat at 20 yards a catch. Are you kidding me? That's Tyreek Hill, okay? Tyreek Hill was number 2, bro. So that's super explosive. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to compare him to Devontae Adams in year 3 just because the numbers are sort of similar. The eyeball test will tell you he's not the same guy. He has a lot to improve. You think that helps MVS? They shaded him those games. Shaded or shadowed. Dude, I think it helps his targets. Yeah, you can say the coverage was going to him, but he has the explosiveness to still get open. I don't care if you double team him. He can still get open. He can just flat run by guys. So for me, it may have made him more of a target by the defense, but it also, that was his opportunity to say, I can handle the production. I can handle being the guy. And they were running the ball more, and they were doing some other things offensively. So it's not like they were just, going to him all the time. He still had opportunities to get open looks, and his targets should have increased, and he should have been able to be like, yeah, look, his targets went up, his production went up. Like, I don't know. I think at the end of the year, Memphis was definitely trending. Dude, I'm with you here. I agree. I mean, I don't know if he dropped a pass in the playoff game. I'm with you. I want him. He's still under contract. I think MVS is still under contract, right? I mean, it's 4 years. This will be the end of his contract. So he's going to be back. And I think next year is going to be his year to freaking blow up and earn a lot of money. You go out and you fucking have a 70, 80 reception year and catch 1,300 yards and 12, 13 touchdowns. Yeah, he's going to get a lot of money in the market. Maybe the Packers don't sign him. I don't know what their cap space is looking like. But they're going to want to, because they drafted him and they like to draft and develop. And it's like, yeah, we'll pay you. He can get him but I'm saying I'm not going to put him in Devontae Adams. I know what you're trying to do, and I'm not saying cut him. I'm saying bring him back. I'm saying he's under contract. He deserves to come back. I don't think, though, he'll be a cap casualty. I think he'll have an opportunity to earn himself a lot of money, but he's got to earn it. You know what I mean? And if he doesn't, if he has another year where he's catching the ball at 52%, then you cut him. But, dude, you're a freaking professional. This is your job. Catch the ball at a 60%. You got to give me the average. You can't fucking give me below out. You can't. 52% is unacceptable. I'm sorry. And people want to compare him to Devontae. Devontae Adams never caught the ball at that low of a percentage. Period. Like, and in Rodgers' most accurate year of his career, you still only caught the ball at 52%. That's unacceptable to me. Even in the Ram games, when he had 33 yards, he had some really tough catch. Yeah, look. But I agree with you. But Lazard and Adams are going to always be the short yardage guys. They got the body for it. They've got Rodgers' trust. MVS was drafted to stretch the field. Yeah, you can throw him some little out routes and shit like that. Like, yeah, I mean, if you want to be a well-rounded receiver, a professional, you should be able to run every single route on the tree. But let's not get it twisted, bro. MVS was drafted. He's 6'4", 215 pounds or whatever, 209 pounds, and he runs a 4.3. They drafted this dude, and I'm sure he has a nice vertical leap. They drafted him for one specific reason. That is to stretch the field. And if you are not efficiently stretching the field, you are not valuable to this. They got Lazard and Adams and fucking Tunyon and running backs who can catch the ball. And they need him to stretch the field, man. And if he's not doing that next year, he's got to give me at least 60%. He's got to catch the ball at least at 60% to me. If you can't do that, to me, you're not a professional. I don't care how much talent you have. Your job is to catch the ball. Period. All right, let's try to finish up this LaFleur press conference.
Tape, but you really got to coach the player as they're doing it, so they can feel it while they're getting critiques. They can feel that muscle memory, because so much of it is muscle memory when you're playing that position, and just understanding the finer nuances or finer details of the position. Now he's got to take that and make sure he's got a set plan each and every day. I told him, hey, you can go take a week or two off, but then we're back at it, and we'll be in constant communication in terms of just getting updates from him where he thinks he is, and but it's going to take a deliberate approach each and every day and pinpointing what exactly it is that he's trying to improve on a daily basis.
Catching the ball. That's what he needs to improve.
Aside from having to replace Mo's position, do you expect any other changes within the staff, either them going somewhere or somewhere else for promotions? And then also, is it possible you'll interview anybody on your staff for the DC job?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a couple guys that received promotions. Kevin Koger's going to the Chargers as the tight end coach. Butch Berry's going to the Niners as an assistant O-line coach. Certainly, really appreciate everything those guys did, the effort, the work that they did. Got a lot of confidence in those guys. Wish we could have had something here for them. But anytime you see guys that are able to get opportunities to better themselves, both professionally but also better the lives of their families, that is important to us, and certainly don't want to hold people back from those opportunities. So we'll miss them, but we wish them well. And then in regards to what else did you ask me, Tom? I'm sorry.
I asked you if there's anybody on the staff you might interview for DC job.
Yeah, there will be for sure at least one person that will interview from within our staff. But I think right now, as far as just like everything's kind of in flux until we get a defensive coordinator in-house, and then we'll take a look at everything. We'll evaluate everything together. Certainly, we want to provide the support and just making sure that whoever
job.
Yeah, there will be for sure at least one person that will interview from within our staff. But I think right now, as far as just like everything's kind of in flux until we get a defensive coordinator in-house, and then we'll take a look at everything. We'll evaluate everything together. Certainly, we want to provide the support and just making sure that whoever that person is that comes in has the best chance to be as successful as they
That's gonna be,
because we know that's gonna help the Green Bay Packers. So we'll continue to look at everything. But the guys that are here, I got a lot of confidence in these guys.
that's interesting, man.
And we'll just work through it. But first things first, we got to make sure that we find our guy to fulfill that defensive coordinator position.
We'll do two more. Marty Hendricks.
What, you got me okay?
Hmm.
Long, hard,
Interesting.
season. I know you're still in the hiring process, but how do you personally decompress and relax a little bit in the coming weeks?
Well, hopefully, when we get all the staff situated, I can get out of town and go somewhere warm and get a little family vacation, but that's kind of on the back burner until we solidify our staff. And thankfully I've got a wife that understands that. My kids, I know they're itching to get some time away with me. But first things first, we have a responsibility here to take care of and making sure that we get the best people in this building possible.
That does kind of suck though.
So we'll take care of that, and then
Puts a damper on your
time to relax.
your
And we'll be back at
vacation time.
attacking every other phase of this offseason.
Last one, Ryan Wood.
Last question.
Hey, Matt, just to go back to the field goal, Aaron was pretty adamant after the
Damn.
game, both when he went on Pat McAfee, that it was not his decision and that he thought he was going to get another down. You guys have cultivated such a strong relationship in 2 years. Do you anticipate any need to mend there going forward, or is that not going to be an issue?
No, that's not an issue. Matter of fact, we talked about it, and I totally understand where he's coming from. Like, I wouldn't want a quarterback that wouldn't want another crack at it. So that's the competitor in him. That's what you love about him. Certainly, again, you talk about communication, making sure you're on the same page.
Y'all would not.
I probably should have communicated exactly what we needed to get for us to go for it on fourth down. Maybe that changes some of what he does. I don't know, but it all stems from the communication, and I got to make sure I got to do a better job.
Yeah, you fucking do, Matt. You do. You really do.
What it is that we're trying to get done. That way, something like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But in regards to just his desire to want to go for it right there, that doesn't bother me. I want that. I'm excited that we have a guy that has that much confidence that we're going to get this thing done. And I would expect nothing else from such a great player, from such a great leader, and the ultimate competitor.
All right, here we go. That was the Matt LaFleur press conference. It was actually a little bit better than I thought. They did ask him. They did ask him some pretty tough questions. I mean, he gave some kind of like political answers on most of that shit. It's like what you kind of expect. You know what I mean? I kind of expect him to go PC on most of that stuff. Rick LM real quick says if he has a nice vertical leap, then I don't know where it's at. My biggest gripe about MVS is I never see him jump for the ball. I mean, I said I assume, he's a freaking athlete. I've assumed he has a decent vertical leap. At least, I don't know, 32 inches, right? I mean, he's like he's a fast dude. I think leaping and running or maybe different twitch muscles or whatever. They may not be the same muscles that you use in order to, just because you're fast doesn't mean you're going to have an insane vertical leap. And just because you have an insane vertical leap doesn't mean you're fast. Devontae Adams, for instance, he does have an insane vertical leap, like 38 inches or 39 inches or 40 inches, something crazy, Devontae Adams. But he's not as fast as MVS. He's not the fastest guy. He says he runs like a 4.4 now, which is definitely fast, but it's not like, oh shit, crazy fast. But I'm just assuming, as a guy who's in shape and young and at the prime of his athleticism, I'm assuming he probably has like a 30-inch vertical, 32, and being 6'4", that's enough to be able to jump up and get some balls and some 50-50 balls. I'm gonna take another 60-second commercial break here, and then we're gonna jump into the Brian Gutekunst, or as McAfee likes to say, Gutekunst. But we're going to jump into the Brian Gutekunst press conference. He spoke with the media a few hours ago. So let me just run this commercial break, and we'll be back at it. All right. So shit. All right, let me pull up the Gutekunst. Yeah, we got some nice little snippets out of that conversation, though. My reaction, I got some good things, some interesting shit, man. That whole thing about the defensive play call, though, on that last possession there, man. That's heavy, man. That's some heavy shit right there. If that was really LaFleur's, ultimately he took the blame for it, which I appreciate my head coach taking the blame for it and stepping up and being accountable and shit. But if he was the one that actually said, let's do this, yeah, that's kind of, that's rough, man. I don't like that shit at all.
Stepping up and being accountable and shit. But if he was the one that actually said,
Dude, yeah, man, I don't give a fuck. Get Stone Talk Sports. Hence, the head coach, some will rock with coordinators, but just go against. Yeah, you don't love YouTube. Yeah, I mean, not that I don't love YouTube, man, but I'm over here, baby. I'm Twitch. I'm affiliated on Twitch. YouTube ain't showing me no love. If YouTube would show me some fucking love, then I'd be on YouTube a little bit more. But right now, Twitch is showing me the love. I got subscribers. I'm affiliated over here on Twitch. That's why I'm up in the Twitch chat. I am streaming, multi-streaming to YouTube. But yeah, no, I'm over in Twitch chat with my Twitchies. My Packer backers over here on the Twitch chat. All right, man. Let's. If he had a nice vertical leap, okay. Let's pull up the Brian Gutekunst press conference from a few hours ago. 25 minutes. We're going to just jump right into this.
Sure, Aaron, that he's the guy, not only in 2021, but...
All right.
How do you plan to assure Aaron that he's the guy...
They're jumping right into it. They're jumping right into the Aaron Rodgers conversations. I wonder, I wish I could be inside the general manager's head right now. Like, what he's thinking. Like, first question off the bat. How are you ensure how... Aaron Rodgers...
I don't think I have to do a lot of assuring him because I think obviously his play speaks for itself. But I will say this: we're really excited, not only for next year but the years to come. I mean, he's playing at such a high level that he always has, and I think this year was a special year. It didn't finish like we wanted to finish, but I think everybody's purely motivated to get back, and I think, like I said, I don't think there's anything that we have to do. He's our quarterback and he's our leader.
Hey, Brian, looking at as we get into the off season here, it looks like depending on where the cap ends up, you guys could be $25 million to more than $30 million over the cap right now. How much room do you have?
Yeah, that's.
How much room do you have?
Yeah. Okay, so y'all can hear. I just want to make sure y'all can actually hear what the fuck is going on. All right, yeah. That's a good question. Talking about the cap. I mean, of course. Okay, real quick. I mean, if you want me to react to what he says about Aaron Rodgers, I don't expect these dudes to say anything remotely close to what they might actually be thinking in reference to Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's going to get up there and say, "Well, we have the phone lines are open. We are currently open to. I want a better word than open. What's a better word than open? They are entertaining. We are entertaining offers. If we hear something that is just such an incredible offer, we will consider it. We are considering offers for Aaron Rodgers, but we would like to have him back. But if we do get something that we can't refuse, like 4 first rounders or 5 first rounders or a first rounder and a bunch of players, young talented players from the San Francisco 49ers, so to speak, yeah, we would consider it. Now, of course they would never say some shit like that, because they would never say that. So it's not even really worth asking that fucking question. It's not even worth asking the question to begin with, because they would never say that publicly. So it's like, whatever, fuck that. So on to the next question. We're talking about the salary cap.
And budget to maneuver to retain a couple of your guys who are set to hit free agency, to add new players too in free agency.
Yeah, it's unique. It's a unique year. It's very challenging. It's obviously we're not the only team that has these challenges. So I feel really comfortable. We've been working on this all year, kind of getting ready for what's going to happen over the next 3 or 4 months. Russ does a fantastic job of communicating with me and really laying things out so that the decisions that we need to make moving forward, we can put the best football team out there. So I'm confident we're going to be able to do what we need to do to compete next year. There will be some challenges. There's going to be some hard decisions, some things that you certainly don't plan for a pandemic. But at the same time, I think because Russ has done such a good job with our cap, and we've been I think we've been pretty disciplined in our approach over the years, that we're going to be able to take this challenge on without really gutting our team.
Well, Brian, you get
get that number 1 seed in your home.
That was interesting.
Top 2 or 3 things you think happened this year that maybe could have helped.
Like I said, I think obviously we were the number 1 seed for a reason. We were playing these games at home for a reason, and I think we obviously had a great opportunity to win the last ball game. Always disappointing when you come up short like that, and I think you always, regardless of where you finish your season, you look back and you start to evaluate the season and where you need to go from here. But really proud of the players. I thought we had a really good team. I think they really sacrificed a lot and put the team ahead of themselves, which allowed us to get as far as we did. And wish we would have played our best football in the last game. We didn't, and I think hopefully our guys will draw from that experience as we move forward.
Hey, Brian, we all understand that drafts aren't for this year, or you didn't draft 2020 for the 2020. But is there any regret in your mind about how it played out? You got to the championship.
It's a dumb question.
Didn't play a snap. Maybe if you did something different, maybe you'd have gotten over the hump.
No, don't look at it that way. Really no regrets looking back at the draft last year. I think obviously the opportunities that our players got from that draft class, I thought they performed very well. I think they were limited opportunities, and obviously we had some unfortunate injuries. We had some COVID situations we went through as well. But looking at all those guys that we drafted last year, I'm excited about their future and what they can do for the Green Bay Packers and the opportunities they were given. I thought they performed well.
That was a bad question. Like, you can't, like, the premise of the question was good, but the question in general was bad, because it's like, you can't ask a general manager, do you regret not? I mean, come on, like, what the fuck is going to say? Yeah, actually, you know what? I really do regret. No, he's never going to say he regrets that. Even if he did, he's never going to say it. So, like, you're not asked. The question you got to ask him is, given how the season turned out, how things played out last year, and how the season turned out this year, how can you, to your fan base, explain a decision to not draft a player who can help you just as much in the future as a Jordan Love can, but more in the present than Jordan Love can? How can you rationalize to the fan or to the media person who says, man, if this team had drafted maybe a wide receiver or someone on defense, that could contribute to the team and make the team better this year? You didn't do anything with the first round pick to make your team better this year. And whether you want to say draft and develop or whatever, every year in the draft, the goal is to take players that will make your team better. You failed to do that with your first round pick this year. How do you explain that? How does that make sense? Like, that's how you kind of have to frame that question. You can't say, "Or do you regret it?" I mean, of course he doesn't fucking regret it. You know what I mean? Like, or even if he did, he wouldn't say yes. You're not getting a good answer. Like, you're just like stupid. You know. And I'm not getting paid for this. These people are getting paid. Oh, I am getting paid. Thank you to my subscribers. I am getting paid. I'm running ads. But I mean, these guys, like I need to be in that media availability. You know, I need to have access to these guys to ask them good questions, because these guys don't really ask good questions.
You don't have to get into specifics, but just can you give me a sense of how you prioritize the guys that are going to be coming unrestricted free agents, and how you kind of just set the financial bar and that debate that's going to have to take place?
That's a good question.
I hope I answer your question right here. I think, for me, I think it's obviously you're always kind of working in a 2 to 3 year window, looking at how you're going to build each team for those 2 to 3 years. And how.
Ooh, so even there, he just answered. He just gave a. If you go based on what he just said, you're always looking at how you're going to build the team in the next 2 to 3 years. Then yeah, that pretty much says that you're already thinking about Jordan Love playing in 2 to 3 years. You know, I love how these guys kind of tell on themselves, bro. I love it. He basically just said that they're thinking about Aaron Rodgers playing. He said a long time. Motherfucker, you just said you're thinking about the team in 2 to 3 years. So that means when you drafted Jordan Love this year, you was expecting him to play in 2 to 3 years. So come on, man, 2 to 3 year window. So 2 to 3 year window for team, you know? Why Love? You know what I mean? Like, why would you draft Jordan Love if you're thinking of 2 to 3 years? Like, that makes that even more interesting of a choice. It's all storylines. Before this year with Jefferson, what did the NFL pundits always say? The receivers are hard position to come and make an impact year one. Now they don't draft one for Rodgers. Suddenly it would make them. Dude, look. You're talking to the wrong guy, okay? Because honestly, I don't give a fuck what pundits say. Pundits also said forever that you couldn't have mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. Now every fucking NFL quarterback is going to be mobile. So look, maybe it's just me. Maybe because I'm an outside the box thinker, or I'm willing to go against the grain and not care if my opinion is a popular opinion. If a guy is good, he's going to be good. And we didn't need a receiver to come in and have a Hall of Fame career in his first year. We just needed a guy that could catch the ball at better than 52% because MVS couldn't catch the ball at better than 52%. We needed a guy who can be more reliable, okay? Like a fucking CeeDee Lamb. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's look at what CeeDee Lamb did this year. I mean, CeeDee Lamb went like way earlier, but you know I'm just saying, like, who's another guy that they had an opportunity to get? Laviska Shenault, right? Laviska Shenault, right? He went to the Jacksonville Jaguars, didn't he? Let's see what Laviska numbers. Laviska caught the ball at 73%, bro. 73%. He caught the ball at. Let's compare Laviska Shenault. Wow. First thing, Laviska Shenault. He played in 12 games. He started in 12 games. He had 79 targets, 58 receptions on 79 targets. That's the first thing. Marquez Valdez-Scantling had, 33 receptions on 63 targets. So Laviska had more targets, more receptions. 58 receptions, okay? Marquez had 33 receptions for 690 yards. Laviska had, but that goes to show you just how explosive this motherfucker is. He had 33 receptions for 690 yards. Laviska had 58 receptions for 90 less yards. But still, he caught the ball. And let's see, what was his average yards per catch? Did I have it here? 10 yards. 10 yards of reception. So half the amount of yards. But hey, MVS had 6 TDs. We know for a fact MVS dropped like fucking 7 more touchdowns. Laviska had 5 TDs. Okay. But if you compare him to his rookie season, right? If you compare their rookie seasons, MVS only had 2 touchdowns his rookie season. And like I said, he caught the ball at 52%. And he was averaging, they don't have the yards per reception right here, which is weird. But he had 38 receptions. Oh yeah, 15. He still had 15 yards per reception his rookie year, but he only had 500 yards on 38 receptions and similar targets, 70 targets, 38 receptions. Laviska had 7 more targets, 58 receptions, 10 yards on average, 5 TDs. So fucking, you know what I'm saying? Who are some of these other? What my man T. Higgins. What about T. Higgins? What did T. Higgins do this year? 6 touchdowns. Lord Jesus, 62%. 13 yards of reception, 900 yards. 900 yards, 67 receptions, 6 touchdowns. So look, man, you can't sit here and tell me that having a guy like Laviska Shenault or T. Higgins on this team wouldn't have maybe helped this team go out there and be more explosive and more efficient on offense. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. And then fucking Jefferson, I don't even want to get on this Jefferson kid. Jefferson fucking blew it out the water. If they would have drafted Jefferson, LaVisca Chenault and T. Higgins were still available in the second round. If they would have moved up and draft Jefferson, dude, this offense would have been unstoppable. Unstoppable. I get it. But would you rather have LaVisca Chenault and Tim Boyle in 2 years or Jordan Love and MVS in 2 years? I don't know. Because who knows who could be coming out next year? I mean, if you're asking me legitimately, would I rather have LaVisca Chenault and Tim Boyle in 2 years or Jordan Love and MVS? I'd rather have Justin fucking Jefferson. So don't act like this would don't move the goalposts, Rick. All right, we agree a lot, and I like you. Okay, I really like you, but sometimes you try to move the goalposts for your argument, and that's not the argument. The argument isn't whether I'd rather have LaVisca Chenault and Jordan Love or MVS. The question is, would drafting a LaVisca Chenault or drafting a T. Higgins or drafting Justin Jefferson, would that have helped this team this year maybe win a championship? And to me, the answer is a resounding yes. You can't say that the production that those guys had, the dude almost had 1,000 yards receiving with Joe fucking Burrow in a backup, you know what I'm saying, half of the year. You telling me like T. Higgins almost having 1,000 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns with Aaron Rodgers? You telling me he couldn't have put up those similar numbers, or he couldn't have helped this team go out and be more productive on offense? Come on now. I'm happy they took Jordan Love. I'm telling them to fucking trade Aaron Rodgers and move on to Jordan Love this year. But if you're going to ask me which would have helped the team more this year, and who knows which helped and like I said, Jordan Love is the guy they drafted here. But in 2 more years, when Aaron, the thing, this all goes back to 2018. 2018, they push all their chips in on Aaron Rodgers, and they say, we're going to sign you to a lucrative 4-year extension to have you under contract until 2024. So to me, once you decide to make Aaron Rodgers your guy, you've now paid this dude you've now signed this dude to 3 contracts, and you're all in on this. You made this dude your guy. Once you do that, you gotta go all in. You can't be thinking about the future, bro. The future is now. Rodgers is your future for the next 6 years. He's your future. So you can't be drafting another quarterback. I don't give a fuck if Jordan Love turns out to be a Hall of Famer. I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, we could have had Jordan Love, but guess what? We could also drafted a guy to help this team win a Super Bowl this year, and maybe they do this year. And maybe they do next year. And maybe they do. Who knows what they could have been offensively and how that could have changed. What if they fucking go to 5 straight Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? All this woulda, shoulda, coulda shit is like, speculation. So it's like, who's to say with Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams? Like, who knows? Maybe Rodgers throws 65 touchdowns this year. Who knows what they would have been able to accomplish offensively, bro? Like, maybe they just maybe they shatter every single offensive record that we could ever. Maybe Rodgers throws 70 touchdowns. Who fucking knows, bro? So, in my philosophy on quarterbacks coming out of college is, there'll be another Jordan Love in 2 years, bro. That's the point. To me, these college quarterbacks, they're so athletic and they're so coachable and they're so it's never been easier to transition from the college game to the NFL game because of the way that offenses are being run now. I'd fucking roll the dice on a new college quarterback every 4 or 5 years. After the second contract, right? You pay if you have a top 5 guy, you pay him once, but then after that, you roll the dice on a college quarterback coming out every 4 or 5 years, because guess what? They're going to be that talented. Was Justin Jefferson going to run the ball on those drives after Brady turnovers? Was he going to cough? No, but no one in their right mind thought Justin Jefferson and any of these other guys were going to have. It doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't matter if you thought in your right mind. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, that's a weak argument to me. Like, so what? Like, the dudes are good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what the fuck is the point? Like, why are you drafting Jordan Love then? Like, you don't even know if if no one in their right mind would think to draft Jordan Love in the first round. Like, no one's had Jordan Love as a first round talent. You know what I mean? Like, some people said he was a third round guy. So it's like, come on, like, no one in their right minds. Like, I guess, but like that's the name of it. It's a draft. You know what I mean? So it's all a lottery pick. You're guessing. You're trying to make educated guesses, but if the dude is a star and he's a stud, and I think he was, and I think it was obvious that Justin Jefferson was a stud, if you ask me. And Rodgers even said on the Pat McAfee show, he had his eye on Justin Jefferson. No, Justin Jefferson isn't going to run the ball, and no, he's not going to change the call on fourth down. But if you have a guy like Justin Jefferson, and I know how much you love Alan Lazard, but let's be real here. The talent level is clear. Justin Jefferson, in 1 year sample, let's see him do it next year, I understand, but in 1 year sample size, if you're going to try to, you can't deny his production and the talent in 1 year with Kirk fucking Cousins at quarterback. You can't deny this kid is special. You can't deny it. Like, in 1 year, let's say, just give 1 year. His 1 year was all-time great. He had one of the greatest years as a rookie receiver ever in the history of the NFL. So, take that for what you want. I've never seen a guy have that kind of a year and then just fall off the face of the earth either. There's never been a guy in the NFL who had that kind of year and then just fall off the face of the earth, barring some sort of injury or some shit. So, like, the guy's going to be amazing. Like, let's just, come on. So, it's like, the problem that the offense had on those fourth downs is that they couldn't get it done. They were double teaming Devontae Adams. So if you have Devontae Adams and MVS and Lazard and Justin Jefferson, if those are your four wide receivers and Justin Jefferson is your number two, and you know how dominant he is, that changes everything. That changes the whole complexity of your offense. You're more explosive. You're more efficient. You're better. Yeah, I think he should have ran the ball, but they didn't. So if you're going to throw the ball in those situations, it's better to have more weapons on the field if you're going to throw the ball and more people to throw the ball to. You know what I'm saying? I introduce you to Dwayne Bowe, Laurent Robinson, Michael Clayton. Did any of those guys have years comparable to Justin Jefferson? You want to talk about, I said we've never seen a guy have a year like what Justin Jefferson have and then fall off the face of the earth. That's what I said. I didn't say you've never seen a guy be good for 1 year. I said the year that Justin Jefferson had. And since you want to be kind of a smartass, and I don't mind you being a little bit of a smartass, let's go fucking pull up the numbers and I'll compare them for you. Dwayne Bowe. Let's pull up Dwayne Bowe. Dwayne Bowe. Since you want to die on this hill, brother. You want to die on this hill. Let me pull it up for you. Dwayne Bowe, 2016. 116 target, 2007. And I don't even know who his fucking quarterback was. But Kansas City. The quarterback matters. But I'm not even going to look at the quarterback. The quarterback does matter, but I'm not even going to look at the quarterback. 995 yards, 5 touchdowns, 70 catches. Justin Jefferson. 88 catches, 1,400 yards, 15 yards of reception, and 7 touchdowns. So already off to me a way better start. And you got to consider Dwayne Bowe started all 16 games. Justin Jefferson only started in 14 games. And he was the number 2 target. You know what I'm saying? Like, but let's keep going. Who else did you want to bring up? To me, it's not even close. But to me, okay, next person, Laurent Robinson. I don't even know who this dude is, but if you telling me he had did any of these guys break Randy Moss's record? I don't think so, but let's go. Laurent Robinson. Started 6 games. I'm not even going to even count this guy. He only started 6 games. Okay. But Laurent Robinson, like, dude, he never even had anything close to what the fuck Justin Jefferson had. You know? Like, he never had anything close to what Jefferson had. So that this Laurent Robinson dude, he doesn't even belong in the conversation. All right. Michael Clayton. Let's go to Michael Clayton. Michael Michael Clayton. A.L. Clayton. Michael Clayton. Boom. Let's go. All right. I mean, 1,100 yards is nice. He did have 7 TAM. What's TAM? Is that Tampa? Tampa Bay. He did have 7 touchdowns, so I'll give him that. And he had 80 receptions. I'll give him that. And 1,100 yards is nice. Then he did kind of fall off. But again, he didn't break Randy Moss's record. He didn't have 1,400 yards, and he started 13 games. So I'll give you that. It's comparable. It's comparable. But I didn't watch this guy play, man. Like these, you're giving me these. I mean, it's kind of like it's a little like you gotta watch the games. You know what I'm saying? You see I perform. I mean, who else was on this team from 2004 in like Tampa Bay? Like I don't know. Was this the number one guy? Like was 2004? I mean, you know, like you gotta. It's not just that simple of just comparing apples to apples either. In my opinion, 2004 was this the fucking like what? When did they win the Super Bowl? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay. Was this the year they won the Super Bowl? When they win the last Super Bowl? Super Bowl win. Was it 2000 and let's see. 2003. So this is like a year later. The very next year they won the Super Bowl. This is the very next year. So I don't even know who the fucking people were I don't know who the offensive people were. Can I look it up? Oh, man, this is a lot of research and shit like to try to prove your point. He had one good year is what the list was more. Dude, I know, but I mean, but a good Jefferson had a great year, bro. He broke Randy Moss's record. He had 1,400 yards, man. Like he was one of the highest graded receivers in the NFL as a rookie in COVID season. None of these dudes did this in COVID conditions. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to say that this dude showed you he is he had an all-time great season. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like my point is like the season he had 88 receptions, 14, and this, like I'm saying, and this is with Adam Thielen, like on the other side, bro. Like Adam Thielen is eating a lot of his yards too. I feel like if he doesn't have an Adam Thielen, if he has like a Lazard on his, like, you know what I'm saying, if he has a guy that's like beneath him, like in stats wise, and like, but like if you had a guy on your team that isn't on your level, he would have probably even maybe had more targets and potentially an even bigger year. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, if Jordan Love ends up being what they think he would be, I'll take another decade plus of being a good dude. But here's my point. No, you didn't think he was going to have this year. Don't speak for everybody else in the NFL. The Vikings clearly did because they drafted him. You can't speak for everybody else in the NFL, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can't speak for everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, so don't just try to act like you are the voice of the NFL here, or you're, you know, like, unless I don't know that you are a general manager of some team and you drafting players. Like, if you are, speak up now, forever hold your peace. But you can't say that, man. This dude was the best receiver in college football on the best team in college football. Like, that says a lot to me. Nah, no one thought Jefferson was having this year with no OTAs, not even the Vikings. You don't know. You don't know what they thought. They thought enough of him to draft him. Rodgers thought enough of him to say, I like that kid. I had my eye on that kid in the first round. I was thinking maybe they're trading up to get this kid. Or, you know, maybe that was a kid I had my eye on. Rodgers said he wanted him. And Rodgers doesn't say shit like that often. So Rodgers saw enough in him. You know, I had a feeling on this kid. The fact that he was like a 1-star walk-on recruit and some shit and he worked his way up to the best guy in football. His hands were amazing. And he caught the ball at 70%. That's incredible. That's another thing. These other dudes aren't catching the ball like that. Dwayne Bowe, he's a fucking 57 career. You know, 62%. I mean, that's good. 60%. I mean, that's good, but it's like, I mean, he caught the ball at 70%, man. Like, you know, like, That's really freaking amazing for a first year, for a rookie, like in COVID. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I understand, like, I think that guy helps you win more games. I think he helps you. Sure, they all thought he potentially, obviously, but the thing he was gonna break. But that's why you get surprised and say, "Damn, we knew this dude's gonna be good." But the fact that he freaking was this good, and then look what happened. Yeah, but I mean, come on, dude. Are you gonna try to compare the Vikings to the Packers? Is that what you're doing? You're gonna compare the Vikings to the Packers? Come on, like, Hall of Fame quarterback, check. Best coach in the division, check. Best defense in the division, check. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Vikings, but before you go poo-poo on the Vikings, they did beat the Packers. You know what I'm saying? They did beat the Packers. Before you go and shit all over the Vikings, remember, that shitty Viking team that you're trying to shit on, look where they're at. They beat the Packers, and they had a chance to make it into the playoffs, too. They had a chance to make it into the playoffs. So, before you go poo-pooing on the only one game shorter than the Packers. Plus, you have to remember there was no guarantee he would have the rapport with Rodgers. Dude, yeah, but Rodgers usually has rapport with people who are professional, who can make plays, and who are smart. Like, this kid proved that he had all those things. And the fact that Rodgers mentioned him by name on the Pat McAfee show, I think says a lot. I think that says a lot. You know what I mean? He catches the ball really well. He's a smart kid. He came in the league and he fucking dominated. That proves his work ethic. The fact that he went from a one-star walk-on to the best receiver in the NFL draft proves his work ethic. You know what I'm saying? Those are things you have to, that go into the evaluation of what he was able to do. Yeah, there's no guarantees. Rodgers, nothing's a guarantee. I'm not saying, it's not about a guarantee. But if you ask me, for Brian Gutekunst to say, I shaped the team in a 2 to 3 year window. What's best for the team 2 to 3 years down, every 2 to 3 years, to me, and it's like this year and even 2 to 3 years from now, if you're going to be, if you, and like I said, this is all predicated on the fact that they gave Rodgers a deal and extended his contract until 2024. It's like, if you do that, like, you gotta be all in on that dude, man. I'm not saying you can say for a fact that you will win it all. As soon as Rodgers came on the show and talked to Pat McAfee, like, whether it was like the next day or like that night, you know what I'm saying? After the shit happened, right? After the shit hit the fan, the next day or whatever, right? And he's like, "What were you thinking?" He's like, "Yeah, I was thinking, I like that kid Jefferson from LSU." That's what he said. Yes, I like that kid Jefferson from LSU. Well, people don't usually ask, players who they're looking at, before the draft. I mean, you don't really, but like, when he was asked, "What were you thinking?" He said, "I like that kid Jefferson from LSU." That's what he said. "I'll take continued excellence with a chance to go to the Super Bowl every year rather than trying our chances for a year or two." It's not a year or two, man. Do you understand? Rodgers is under contract. They signed that contract in 2018 to put him under contract until 2024. Like, 6 more years. Like, that's not a year or two. That is a 6-year commitment. To me, if you're gonna sign that deal, whether it's backloaded or whether you can get out of it and not, cost you that much money and all that kind of shit, but if you're gonna sign that deal, why sign it if you're thinking, and yeah, you can say Rodgers had some down seasons and all that shit, and that's a part of it. But to me, if you're gonna sign that deal, why sign it if you're thinking about trying to get out of it in 2 to 3 years? Like, just don't fucking sign it. Just get out of it now. Trade the dude then. I don't know. It just seems like, right, again, right, Rick, you're talking about it's a chance. I'll continue with the chance. It's all chance. You don't know if Jordan Love can shit the bed. Jordan Love can be horrible. And then now you wait, and then what are you gonna say? If Jordan Love is terrible in 2 years, and Alshon Jefferson and Justin Jefferson is an all pro, then you're like, God damn, imagine having Justin Jefferson and Adams and Lazard on the same team. What this offense could be capable of. Yeah, sure. We've seen number one offenses lose to defenses. Yeah, we've seen those things. But it's like, so then what are you going to say if Jordan Love doesn't turn out and Justin Jefferson is the one of the top 3 receivers in the NFL from 2 years from now? You're going to say, damn, imagine. Then you're going to say, imagine how insane this offense would be, right? It's like, it's all chance, right? The point is, we're grooming Love. If you're drafting a quarterback because you need one, you're a bad team. I don't know. I don't agree with that either. That's a common thing people like to say. Like, if you draft a quarterback when you need one, then you're a bad team. I don't necessarily agree with that either. You know what I mean? Like, if you're at the top of the draft, yes, you could be a bad team. But look at the freaking Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were 9-7 last year, or 7-9, or whatever it was. They were a bad team last year. Now they're in the Super Bowl. Like, you know, look at the Colts, right? They were a bad team one year. Next year they draft Andrew Luck and they go 11-5 and go to the playoffs. Like, sometimes you're not a bad team. Sometimes you just need a good quarterback. A good quarterback can change a lot. Sometimes you're not a bad team. Sometimes you're actually a pretty good team. You just have a bad quarterback, which goes to show you just how important a quarterback is. Why didn't he give his opinion? It doesn't matter. The front office wasn't going to take his opinion into consideration. They've already proven that. If they were going to take his opinion into consideration, I don't think the front office gives a damn what Rodgers wants. Honestly, like, at the end of the day, I don't think they care what he wants, and they're not going to make a decision based on what Rodgers wants. I don't think they even asked him. Rodgers has actually made it pretty clear that they don't ever include him in on these kind of conversations, which I think is one of the reasons why Rodgers could be a little pissed with these guys. Yeah, you're paying me 20% of your overall cap. I'm the face of your franchise. Like, I'm heavily invested in this city. I got stock. I got ownership in the fucking NBA franchise. Like, I love this city. They didn't include Rodgers on the head coaching decision. This front office doesn't really care about Rodgers' opinions on these sorts of things. And after they made the pick, they decided to have 4 fingers worth of tequila. I'll say that in 3 years then. But for right now, we don't know. If the Packers took Rodgers' opinion into consideration, we'd be running Jordy and Cobb and Nelson out of. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the front office clearly don't ask Rodgers his opinion on shit. And I think Rodgers has made that perfectly clear himself when asked about these sorts of things. The Jordy Nelsons and the other things and his offensive linemen. They don't care about what Rodgers has to think. They don't. I don't think they do. Back to the press conference.
Decision affects things now and down the road. So, again, this is a unique challenge because I think this is the first time, certainly in my history, that I can remember where the cap has actually gone down and not gone up. So, it is a unique challenge, but it's a unique challenge that the entire league is facing. So, I think that, certainly the whole focus will be how do we put the best football team.
I mean, I agree with that a little bit, Rick LM. Like, I agree, like, you shouldn't necessarily consider everything, but I do think they should have asked him about the head coach. I do think they should have, again, like I said, in 2018, if I were the general manager, I want to make it absolutely clear, I would not have signed Rodgers to a long-term deal. In 2018, if I was the general manager of the Packers, I would have been looking to trade Aaron Rodgers in 2018. That is what I would have done. I would have cut bait, traded him, try to get 3 or 4 first-round picks or whatever the fuck we can get, and move on. That's what I would have done. And honestly, I would have cut Aaron Rodgers, and I would have went out and got Colin Kaepernick off the trash heap and see if I could revive his career for a fucking year or 2. That's a whole different story. But once you decide to pay Rodgers $130 million extension, make him the highest paid quarterback at the time, pay him $33 million a year, $35 million a year, and extend his contract until 2024. To me, at that point, you have to literally be all in. There is no future. The future is from 2018 to 2024. Everything after that, you start thinking about the next quarterback maybe in 2023. You start looking in 2023 and say, okay, maybe we draft a guy with Rodgers' contract expires next year. Okay, he might retire, right? We went all in. We fucking stressed the cap. Maybe we even put some pressure on the cap. We did we sold out. Like Belichick said, I sold out and I won 6 fucking rings. We had a bad year. We had one bad year in the last fucking 20 years, 2 decades. We had one bad year in the last 2 decades. I sold out. My quarterback sold out. We won 6 rings. We went to 9 Super Bowls. That's the kind of level of selling out and all in I want to see from the Packers once you sign Rodgers to a 4-year extension in 2018 or 6-year extension, whatever it was, you extend him to 2024. He had 2 years left on his contract. You add another 4 years on that. You extended him by 6 years, basically. Like, you got to go all in on Rodgers. There is no future. There is no looking for the quarterback of the future. You look for the quarterback of the future in 2023. And that's it. Like, to me.
Come 2021, when we start the season in September. So that's the entire focus from the whole organization. So as we, I think we have a really good football team coming back. So the decisions we make will really be about that.
Just to clarify, I just wanted to make sure regarding Aaron Rodgers, when you're saying he's going to be our quarterback for the foreseeable future, you're saying not just 2021, but the years beyond that as well, or am I jumping that correct?
Absolutely. Obviously, he's got, he's under contract. He's playing at an extremely high level. What we're trying to do as an organization and what we're trying to accomplish here, we can't do without Aaron Rodgers right now. So he's such a part of what we've done. He's such a part of what we're doing right now, and certainly in the future.
Ryan, over the weekend, Sam Farmer of the LA Times reported that the Rams, quote, made a run at trading for Aaron. Now, I would never expect you to comment on an outside team or your conversations with them. So I'll just ask, how would you define making a run?
Yeah, I appreciate you understanding that I don't really comment on those things, but in this particular situation, there's no truth to that whatsoever.
Hey, Goody,
Jason?
I know I can be a pain, so bear with me when I ask you this.
Self-awareness is a wonderful thing.
I'm wondering how you view a franchise quarterback, whether his name is Aaron Rodgers or somebody else. Like, is he like any other player on your team? Like, Ty Summers doesn't have any guarantee that he's going to be on your roster next year, right? I mean, he has a contract, but there's no guarantees because you guys don't have guaranteed contracts in the NFL. So does a franchise quarterback merit more than a typical player in terms of assurances that, hey, there's a big opportunity for us to save a lot of cap room if we move on from you after the 2021 season? Does a quarterback merit that? And then I guess my corollary question is it the way to show that what you're saying is the case to push money into a signing bonus and make it so in the terms of the cap he's not going to go anywhere? Wouldn't that assure him that he's not going anywhere?
Jason, I'm not going to get into contract specifics, but what I will say is I think every player is different, and certainly different players merit different things. There's no doubt about that. He's an exceptionally big part of what we're doing and what we're trying to do in the future. So as we attack this salary cap that we're going to have to attack this season, there's a lot of players that, contractually situations we're going to have to address. So with Aaron, I mean, I think that he is arguably the best player that I've ever seen or been around. The chances he gives us week in and week out are significant. So, he's going to be a part of our future, and we look forward to all the runs we're going to try to make here over the next few years.
Hey Brian, two quick ones. One, has the league given you any indication as to what the salary cap's actually going to be at? And then number two, you told a great story about Ted Thompson burying prospects on the draft board. Is that a tradition that you've continued, and have any of your scouts figured out any of your players that you've buried?
First of all, to answer your first question, no, we don't really have an exact number. I think we have a pretty good idea of where it's going to be, but they have not given us an exact number. But to answer your second question, the tradition continues. I don't know if I'm as good of a poker player as Ted Thompson was, as far as keeping those things a secret. But at the same time, I think as we go through our process and stuff, it's we certainly like to keep maybe some guys we think are undervalued as quiet as possible as we go through that process.
Stephanie Sutton.
Brian, can you hear me okay?
I got you.
This week will be the 10-year anniversary of Super Bowl 45. What are your memories from that, and are you still surprised the Packers haven't been back to the big game?
We've knocked on the door obviously a bunch of times, so I guess in some ways it is surprising we haven't made it back. At the same time, my memories obviously very fondly of that time. I had some very young children at times. I think we had three of them with us, and obviously there was an ice storm, and navigating those few days was interesting. I think one of the things I remember most was coming back here and kind of the bus rides back to Lambeau and the fans outside Lambeau. That was something that is a priceless memory for me.
I see your comment, Trailer Court. Let me get to it in a second.
Excited to have fans in from the NFC Championship games because I think this is such a unique place, and our fan base is so unique, how they care about our football team. But a lot of memories there through that game and through that period of time with the people that I got to share it with. It was certainly a special time, and hopefully we can create some more of those coming.
Hey Brian, I don't think it's a secret that young quarterbacks don't sit for 3 years like Aaron.
Okay, so to address your comment, Trailer Court, just because a team hasn't gone all in, and I guess I should maybe assess my lighting situation here. Let me clarify something. Let me clarify something right quick. Mr. Trailer Court. If he in the front office Tom Brady had for the New England Patriots, he would have as many rings. I mean, you can't say that. I hate when people say that. Like it's not easy to do what the Patriots did. People may think that shit is easy just because you have talent. Nah, man, that shit is not easy to do what the Patriots did. And I'll stand by what I said. Rodgers doesn't have what Tom Brady has. Tom Brady took less money, okay, so that they could build a better team around him. That was a conscious effort on Tom Brady's part. Rodgers took the most money he could possibly get, which effectively made it more difficult for them to put a better team around him. That's the first thing. Bill Belichick even said it in a news conference after they went one and done in Brady's last year that we should have sold out and went all in. I don't know what you mean. Like what do you mean? He said he should have sold out and went all in. Like I don't know what you're talking about. But what I mean, but yeah, it was also like Brady went to a fucking super team this year, man. This team is fucking super loaded, bro. But anyways, just because which team are we talking about here? Are we talking about the Patriots or are we talking about the Packers? Which team are we talking about? The The Patriots or the Packers? But I'll continue my point. The point that I'm trying to make here is the Packers. No, there's nothing you can do. What do you mean? Like you pay a guy this much money, there's only but so much money in the salary cap. You make a choice to pay him what he wants, or allow his contract to run up and he will leave to get the money he wants, or trade him. So, but you understand, once you pay him all this money contractually, your hands are tied. There is no plan that you can have in place. There's no plan. With the money, I mean, you can't make money appear out of anywhere. The plan is, yes, to be shrewd and to cut players and to try to be cheap. That's the plan. We have Aaron Rodgers, and there's plenty you can do. Look at the Chiefs. Dude, first of all, you can't say look at the Chiefs. This is the first year that they've done that, okay? Like, the Packers had already paid Aaron Rodgers a lot of fucking money the first time around. This is his third contract, okay? Like, they paid him a rookie contract. They paid him a shit ton of money the second contract. And then they paid him a shit more ton of money the third contract. So the Chiefs are just paying these guys this year. And again, it's easy to do it now up front. But a lot of these deals have outs. And a lot of these deals, they're doing what they can to keep this team together for the next 2 or 3 years. Okay? Rodgers was already 10 years into his career, you know what I'm saying? And he was already kind of on the back sort of end, you know what I mean? He was already past his super prime, his early 20s and shit. Mahomes is 26, 25. Kelsey is 27 or whatever. Like, Hill is, come on. Like, it's a little bit different situation because they got us in the Packers. They have a super young team, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna just keep. We know that this shit's gonna probably blow up in 5 or 6 years because this money is not. I mean, and yes, and I guess for them, luckily for them, the cap will hopefully continue to go up. So in like 3 or 4 more years, they'll have so much more money that these deals will actually sort of start to shrink. But even still, they actually can get out of some of these deals, you know what I'm saying? And they front loaded the deals and they made it all kind of, incentive based and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can do some of that. But the Packers also, you have to consider the fact that the Packers don't like to do a lot of that shit. The Mahomes don't they? The nose deal don't. They know. I don't know. You're not really making sense right here. The Mahomes don't. The Mahomes deal doesn't or don't. They don't have an out until his 7th year. Yeah, well, I mean, the motherfucker's only 24. Like, you don't even want to out. You don't even want to get out until his 7th year. I mean, he's only in his 4th year. Like, he signed a 10-year deal. I mean, everything goes as planned, this dude will be the best quarterback maybe ever. Like, he'll be the number 1 quarterback every year for the next 7 years. Like, so, and you said they still owe him money even if they want out of the contract. I mean, I guess, I don't know all the specifics. But the point that I'm trying to make is, just because you said, how can I say that Rodgers has something to blame? I blame him the most for not getting over the hump if the team hasn't gone all in, quote unquote. To me, going all in is, like I said, like not drafting a quarterback of the future. Like, to me, that like those sorts of things. Like, but let me make it very clear: the Packers have still done a great job building a good team around Rodgers. They went to the NFC Championship game 2 years in a row. Like, come on now, like Rodgers isn't that good. Okay, like he's good, right? But you can't just carry a team to 13-3 by yourself. No, he's not that fucking good, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, people are really giving this guy like, that's what I'm saying. It's almost like, it's frustrating how like how fans really put Aaron Rodgers on this pedestal. Like, everybody says it's a team game, right? And Rodgers can't do it. Everyone wants to say it's a team game. Wins and losses are a team game. But then they only give credit to Rodgers for the wins but when they lose, he gets none of the blame. What the fuck? Like, y'all, you can't have it your both way. You can't say it's a team game, and when Rodgers doesn't win, the team let him down. But when Rodgers wins, it's like we only can give Rodgers the blame for Rodgers is the only reason we won. Like, what the fuck? Kind of doesn't make any sense. Like, either it's a team game or it's not. If it's a team game, okay, it's a team game. But players still contribute disproportionately to those teams. You're not going to blame, like the third string receiver, okay? Like, yeah, maybe if the third string receiver drops 2 touchdown passes, maybe you say, damn, dude, you dropped 2 touchdowns. But it's like, fans only want to give Rodgers the credit for the wins and say, if we don't have Rodgers, we're nothing. We wouldn't even win 2 games without Aaron Rodgers. But then when the team loses, oh, Aaron Rodgers he didn't contribute to this loss in any kind of way. Like, come on, man. Like, gosh, like that's just not, that doesn't make any sense to me. If he's that much the credit for the wins, then he's that much credit for the blames to me. Like, if everything is on him in the win, why isn't everything on him in the victory? Like, that, to me, those things don't make sense. It's like, what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy here. Like, I gotta think of a really good analogy. But like, to me, it's like, if you're gonna give this dude all of the freaking credit for every single success that this team has, and it's only because Aaron Rodgers that we're even relevant, and it's only because of Aaron Rodgers that we can even win one game. So then when we lose a game, how come he doesn't take a majority of the blame for the losses then? Explain that to me. I think there are a couple of quarterbacks, honestly. I think there are a couple of quarterbacks that could lead this team to a 13-3 season. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Russell Wilson could. I think Josh Allen could. I think trying to think of some other quarterbacks that I really think could have led this team to a 13-3 season. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, like, you're really trying to act like this team is so bad. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, you think that this team has the number 3 offensive line in football, a top 10 running back, a good head coach, the best receiver in football, and a top 10 defense? Like, bro, like, you really think that Deshaun Watson could? Honestly, I think a guy like Ryan Tannehill could have, honestly. Kyler Murray. Maybe Kyler Murray can. I mean, I gotta maybe see a little bit more, but maybe Kyler Murray could have. I don't freaking know. Like, you gotta give the. Why not Wilson? Why not Wilson? Why not Wilson? What do you mean? Like, come on, man. Why not Wilson? Dude, for me, Tannehill is a top 10 quarterback. For me. In the current landscape of the NFL, Tannehill is a maybe 7, 8, or 9. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's 9 or 10, but I think Tannehill on this team, matter of fact, I mean, Tannehill's been to an AFC Championship game last year. I mean, they fucking ran into the Bills. I mean, but I mean, shit, they went 11-5. Like, I mean, we have a better defense. We have a better defense than the Patriots. I think. I mean, than the Tennessee Titans. We don't have a better running back, but we've got the best receiver. And in this scheme, I think Tannehill is actually would be really good in this scheme. I'll admit, I just got back, so I don't know what we're talking about, but no way Tannehill. I didn't say Tannehill gives you a better chance to win games. What I said was, the question was, What other quarterback in the NFL could have led this team to a 13-3 record? I think Tannehill could lead this. I think if you put Tannehill on this team, I think he could have taken them to a 13-3 record. If you put Deshaun Watson on this team, I think Watson could have taken him to a 13-3 record. I think Mahomes could have taken him to a 13-3 record. I think Brady could take him. I think, maybe even Stafford. We're about to find out. We're about to find out what Stafford has. You know what I'm saying? I think Russell Wilson could take this team to a 13-3 record. I think that fucking kid, I said Josh Allen could take this team to a 13-3 record. I think exactly. I believe in LaFleur, bro. I really believe in LaFleur, and I believe in this offensive system. I don't know about Lamar. I really. If you said last year, for sure. This year, I'm not so sure. Dak Prescott. Honestly, I think Dak Prescott could take this team to a 13-3 record. I just named 8 quarterbacks right there. Mr. Trailer Court 69. I just named 8 quarterbacks right there. 8 quarterbacks that I think could have taken this team to a 13-3 record this year if healthy. Like, now, win the Super Bowl, I don't like but a 13-3 record, probably, honestly, there's probably some other quarterbacks that could do it too, honestly. Drew Brees could have taken this team to a 13-3 record this year. I mean, dude, you guys give Aaron Rodgers, I'm not saying the dude isn't uber talented. I'm not saying he's not one of the greatest talents of all time, but you're giving him a little bit too much credit if you think that there's only Mahomes and Brady could have taken this team to a 13-3 record. Come on, bro. Like, you got Aaron Rodgers on a fucking pedestal that is way too high, bro. I'm sorry. Like, if you want to say he's not if you want to say he's not that much to blame or whatever, but come on, man. Like, this is a good team, dog. You don't get to a 13-3 record in back-to-back years without being a really good team. This is a really good team, bro. Like, really good. They have superstars at every single level. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. Okay? Like, you can't discredit that. They have the best wide receiver in football, a top 10 running back in football. They have literally the best 2 safeties in football. They have the best cornerback in football. They have a top 5 edge rusher in football. They have a top 10 defensive interior lineman in football. Like, come on, this team is not just Aaron Rodgers carrying a bunch of bums. Like, come on, man. That's unfair to the rest of this team. Seriously. This is a really good team. You don't just get carried to back-to-back. Rodgers didn't even play that great last year. Aaron Jones carried this fucking team last year, if you want to keep it a buck. In 2019, Aaron Jones was the MVP of this team. And he should have been the MVP of this team this year. If they were smart, they would have ran the ball more, and they would have featured Aaron Jones and not Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron did it anymore. Given what you and Matt have said today about seeing him here for a long time, do you still view Jordan as the next quarterback after Aaron whenever he does leave?
That I got to share it with.
It's like Aaron did it anymore.
We can create some more of those coming.
Hey Brian, I don't think it's a secret that young quarterbacks don't sit for 3 years like Aaron did it anymore. Given what you and Matt have said today about you see him here for a long time, do you still view Jordan as the next quarterback after Aaron whenever he does leave?
I view Jordan as a very talented prospect that we're really excited about developing, and I know that maybe that's not the norm to have quarterbacks sit for a long time, but we certainly believe in that. I go through my history here with the Green Bay Packers, whether it was Matt Hasselbeck and Aaron Brooks, and the way we developed those guys. I'm always feeling good about having a guy that if something happened to Brett back in those days, or even when we had Matt Flynn with when Aaron was here, that if we needed to go to somebody else because of injury or anything else, that we were able to do that. So we believe in that. This probably won't be the first time we draft a quarterback and try to develop them, because we just think it's such an important part of the game. I think you you look at the two teams that are playing for the championship this year, and the four teams that were in the Final Four, so to speak. And I think you can understand the importance of developing quarterbacks. So we're going to put a lot of stock into that. We're going to use resources to.
It's a fair
acquire
answer.
And develop quarterbacks, which is what we believe in. I'm really excited about the limited development that Jordan has been able to do in the short period of time that we've had him. Matt kind of hit on it. There were some challenges. I think that unforeseen challenges.
It's fair enough.
Season and no preseason games and things like that. So we're excited to kind of continue down that road and get him into some preseason games, and at the same time while we're competing for championships with Aaron.
Hey, Brian, the league obviously not mandated, but they implemented a lot of different changes with, the practice squad rules this year, the roster flexibility, even the injured reserve rules. I just wanted to get your thoughts on how'd you feel that process went, and did you like how that ultimately ended up playing out for you guys this year?
I appreciate the question. Yeah, I really liked it a lot. I mean, obviously there was a lot more options this year. When you had injuries, there was other options that weren't available to us in the past. One of the big things.
I wouldn't blame Rodgers for that.
Practice squad roster and the IR rules allowed us to have players.
Yeah, look.
From through the season that
I wouldn't blame Rodgers for that. You know what I'm saying? No, I wouldn't. And look, I'm not saying like I said, I mean, of all of Rodgers, he's now played, right, in 5 NFC Championship games. I really only blame him mostly for the last 2. The other 2 times they went and got and lost. I mean, I don't really blame him for those. And then the first time they won. So he didn't play great. To Skip Bayless's point.
One more cap question, or maybe that's not one more, but for me, I talked to a handful of guys last week, and they were pretty confident that the cap would stay relatively the same, that the league and the P would find a way to borrow some.
But I mean, I really believe in Jordan Love. They like him a lot. I believe in this front office's ability to draft and develop. Like they said, Gronk tricks coaches in offseason. Damn. I think this dude, and like I said, it really comes down to like this offensive system. You don't have to be Aaron Rodgers. You don't have to be Peyton Manning. You don't have to be Tom Brady. You really just have to be. You have to, arm talent helps a lot. I mean, they don't even run like read option stuff with Rodgers. They don't even run some of the stuff that they could be running because it's Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love is going to actually open up some different elements to this offense that they don't even run with Aaron Rodgers, like the tempo and read option and RPO.
Brian, I was just wondering, with the changes in the scouting combine, obviously not that.
Yeah, I don't blame him for that one. I don't blame him for the one in Atlanta, and I don't blame him for the one in Seattle. But I definitely do put a lot of blame on his shoulders for San Francisco because the dude turned the ball over 5 times. Now, thankfully, twice on 2 of his fumbles, the offense was able to recover the ball. But on one of those fumbles, he fumbled it inside his own 10-yard line, which gave the 49ers, they literally scored on like the next play. And then he had you turn the ball over 5 times, bro. And then you don't sustain drives. You don't keep your offense on the field. You don't give the team a chance to actually stay in the game because you're not scoring points. You're not even moving the ball up and down the field. That's why I give him a lot of blame for that. Man, I'm fucking hungry. I ate like nothing all day. Let's get back to these questions here from Mr. Brian Gutekunst.
Everybody's kind of still working through that. I think we have a pretty good
Let's get back to these questions.
It'll be a little bit different than it has been in the past.
Brian, with a bit of a reset coming on the defensive side of the ball, Matt obviously interviewing here this week, new DCs. Does it change at all, or have you had any conversations with him about the type of player you want on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think those conversations are pretty much ongoing all the time. I think from the time Matt came in, our conversations about the kind of players, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, has been pretty. I think we've very much understood each other as far as what we're trying to accomplish. I do like to think that the players that we currently have in our defense are very, versatile, flexible players that can pretty much play in most systems. So I think depending on obviously which route Matt decides to go, there'll probably be some slight, ways we look at things and if we're playing different players more or less than we had in the past. But at the same time, I really do think that we have a roster that's very versatile, and it's very much become a sub-package league. So regardless of kind of the schemes that are brought in, everybody tends to fall back into a couple, that everybody seems to run similarly. So I'm confident that whoever Matt decides to hire, that we'll be able to, meet those challenges.
Brian, you guys put so much into obviously home field advantage for the NFC Championship game and had a great year. But you've been around football long enough to know that a loss like that sometimes can rally a team and be a chip on the shoulder, or sometimes teams never fully recover from that emotional gut punch. What sense did you get from guys as they left town?
What the fuck do you think he's gonna say? I hate these kinds of questions, man. Hey, what do you think? Yeah, man, they look like some bitches. I saw a lot of fear in their eyes. Like, come on, what do you think he's gonna say? Stupid question.
Get back to work. I think the sting of this loss will, not that it'll ever leave them completely, but it'll, they'll be working towards different goals, and I think will, help get over some of that. I will say, the sting of this game and with our players, it was, for me, it was to see that how much it mattered to these guys is always something I appreciate. It's not always that way, but these guys cared very, very much. This one hurt them deeply. This was very important to them, and it was very disappointing to them as we walked off that field into the locker room. So I know we got a lot of the right guys in that locker room who care a lot about what we're trying to accomplish. That gives me great hope for the future.
Hey, Brian, I actually have a question about your defense, but first, just very quickly, because Aaron himself said in the past week that there's never any absolutes, and what you said about his future, it seems pretty clear. Can you foresee any scenario in which you would be willing to trade Aaron Rodgers this offseason?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, he's like I said, he's such an important part of what we're doing. He's a leader of our
All right.
And,
there we go.
That's not part of our plans.
There we go.
About your defense, you put in so much investment through free agency, through the draft over the past couple of years to build that group up. They were 9th in points last year, 9th in yards this year. I know there's other metrics that you can use to evaluate, but do you feel like you've gotten the max of what you could get out of that group with everything that you put in?
That's a good question, Ryan. I think, obviously, looking back to 18, where we kind of were in 18, and we drafted some players, we acquired some players through free agency, and watching them gel in 19 towards the end of the season a little bit, and then and I think we've, steadily gotten better. We're not there yet. I don't think we're where we want to be completely, but I do have a lot of faith in a lot of the players that are on that side of the ball and being able to accomplish what we needed to do. I thought there were times this year that we were really salty, and then there were other times I think there were some inconsistencies, but at the same time, I think we're moving in the right direction.
Brian, have you talked to Dave Bakhtiari, and do you think there's a chance he could be ready for next season?
I have talked to Dave just briefly over the last few weeks as he was rehabbing here. I don't put anything past David. He's the way he goes about his business and how hard he works. I don't put anything past him. He's a unique NFL football player that way. It's a significant injury, obviously, and he's such a big part of our franchise moving forward long term that we're going to be. I think we're not going to rush that one because he's just too important to us. But I don't put anything past him. That's for sure.
Hey, Goody, you came up in this business under Ron, and on my side of the business, I did too. So maybe I had a bias when you guys went with the structure that you did, because that's not the way Ron did it. I'm wondering how your process is now, whether it's talking about Aaron or anything else with you, Matt, and Mark, and how you kind of feel like that process of those conversations go now 3 years into it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had a lot of success, and I think it really goes to the people that are in that group. Obviously Mark, provides Matt now with unbelievable support. I think Russ and the communication between all of us. I think it's just it's really gelling in a again, it's not something I had been through before, but it's for me, it's very comforting to have those guys kind of in the corner, going through all the decisions we have to go through as an organization together. So, again, I think we all understand what our roles are, and I feel blessed to have the support of those guys.
Hey, Brian, it seems like you guys have in the past maybe been a little bit hesitant to borrow from future salary caps to open salary cap space now. Is that a philosophy that kind of needs to change with the pandemic and the potential lowered salary cap?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd agree with that question because we certainly see the situation we're in now. We've done that in the past. I think we're going to have to do that this year for sure. I think the situation that our football team is right now, I think we have one goal in mind, and if there's an opportunity to take some risks to help us win now, we're certainly in that mode.
Okay.
So, obviously, with this year's
all right.
situation,
Mr. Gutekunst. Gutekunst.
money out to try to keep their teams together, and we certainly will be no different.
Henry Black, Dom Daphne, Kavari Russell. They get a couple snaps in the games, they make instant impacts. Does that say, hey, look, regardless whether you were a draft pick here or not, if you show something, you're getting on the field? Did they show you something in practice? Did the expanded practice squad stuff help you develop guys like that? And could you explain for fans again your intentions on bringing back Tremont that last week?
Sure, that's a lot.
It is a lot. God damn.
Some of those young guys.
That's like 5 questions.
That the expanded practice squads gave us some flexibility in bringing guys in. And
I'm glad he asked that question about Tremont, because even I'm like, what the fuck did you bring him back for? You didn't give him one snap.
Felt ready to put them out there. I think you got to give those guys a ton of credit for when their opportunity was called, being able to perform and being ready. I think if you look at Daphne, he's a great example of, obviously we started the year with Josiah. He got hurt. John Lovett came in and did some really good things for us, got hurt, and then Daphne got his opportunity and did the most with what he had with his opportunity. So I'm really excited about some of our undrafted guys that came through and played significant snaps for us on special teams and offensively and defensively. So, but I think it's also a credit to the coaching staff for giving those guys the opportunities, training them up, and getting them right. So, as far as Tremont Williams goes, I thought as we entered down the stretch in the playoffs, and you just kind of started to run through the scenarios of each game and what would happen if you had injuries here, injuries there. He was a player that obviously has been in big moments. I knew he could handle the big moments, and he became available to us. And just thought that he would be someone that if we had to rely upon in a pinch, that he certainly can answer the bell. I think it says a lot about Tremont Williams. He's one of the favorites around here because of the way he's gone about his business for so long. But to come in and so badly want to be a part of what was going on here, to do that selflessly, I think is just says a lot about the guy. He's a true Packer Hall of Famer in my mind. He's such a not only a great player but a great person, and the Packers are better for having him around.
Should have freaking played him.
Brian, this may be a simpleton kind of example on my end, but you look at what Tampa Bay did with David and White, an inside linebacker. Do you need to get better there?
Yeah, I think we have to have more productive play out of there. Obviously, I think we had some injuries there early in the year, and was really proud of the way some of the guys stepped in. And
yeah, why haven't you guys invested more money in that position in the past?
But I do think we need to have better production out of our inside linebacker group, and I expect we have some young players in there that will grow and I think get better, and I think we'll see that moving forward.
Hey, Brian, obviously it was a year of challenges with the whole COVID pandemic going on, but I think you guys obviously only had the 2 incidents during the season. How did you feel the organization sort of handled it and to be able to...
I don't care about COVID questions.
The different things he had to make, but I think even though every morning you were kind of waiting for that text you never wanted to get, I think we felt within the building really set up.
All right, that's pretty much it.
Gave our players the best opportunity.
I don't think there's gonna be more. Yeah. I mean, that seemed like that was a pretty good little session there. Honestly, I'm really not surprised at the answers that the general manager gave. He didn't really give anything too exciting. The LaFleur stuff was interesting because they asked him the questions about defense, and he did say we need an attitude adjustment, and he did say he did bring up the question about what happened on the fourth down again, and he sort of dug his heels in on that. And then I thought it was very interesting that a reporter questioned him about whether it was his decision to be in man coverage, and he didn't really confirm or deny. He just said it doesn't matter because ultimately it comes down to me anyways. And then we had a little discussion about Adams versus MVS, and you know, there were some interesting things that came out of this. Again, you know, I never expected it to be anything earth-shattering, even though honestly that tidbit about him maybe being the person to blame for that Tom Brady touchdown at the end of the half, that is kind of earth-shattering. To be honest with you, that is kind of like, whoa, what? Like, so, but other than that, man, it was pretty good. I actually never thought about listening to the press conference with you guys live and giving live feedback and reaction. I like this. I think I'm gonna start doing this more often. And it was good content, man. We got some good time out of it. It's 5:00. I'm gonna jump off. I'm gonna go get something to eat. And honestly, guys, I might jump back on tonight and watch some either hockey at 7:00 or I might watch some NBA, man. The freaking I'm a Packers fan, obviously, as you can see. But everything else, like I'm kind of like a homer, honestly. So I root for the Washington Capitals. That's the local hockey team. I don't really root for the Wizards. I mean, I like to see them win, I guess. I'm a LeBron fan. So I think the Lakers, they play tonight. I haven't really watched much LeBron this year. So I might throw the Lakers and the Capitals game up, and I might try to keep, I don't know. Maybe we'll see, man. We got the Knicks going to be on. We got the Hornets going to be on. I mean, that could be an interesting game. I haven't seen LaMelo Ball play all year. Milwaukee at 8:00. So this is when I wish I had two fucking televisions. Even though I do have two tablets, I wonder how hard it would be to keep track of the games, the scoring in the NBA game. That's the one thing I'm kind of like a little like scared about. You know what I mean? Mike Evans is still a bitch. Don't forget it. I would never forget. I got to get you some Mike Evans emotes, some Mike Evans bitch emotes or something. Yeah, so I think I might actually come back on in a few hours and stream some sports tonight, man. I might do basketball and NHL if anybody's interested in that. And it's still snowing. It's snowing again where I live, man. It looks really beautiful. I love the snow. I love the way it looks on the grounds and on the trees and things like that. So look, guys, I want to appreciate everybody who stopped by today and who was getting jiggy in the chat. Rick LM, Trailer Course 69, the Brazzle Dazzle, Broken Ankles. I think we had Get Stone Talk Sports. Who else stopped by the chat today, man? Let me see who else may stop by. I want to give everybody a little shout out. Maybe that's it. Man. You guys, Alex66. How could I forget? But yeah, man, appreciate you guys. Like I said, I might be back on in 4 or 5 hours to do some sports, man. This is how, after all, a sports show, not just a football show, not just a Packers show. This is a sports show. We do sports here. We don't just do football. We do sports. And football season is about to come to a close. So I got to cover more sports. And I am probably, maybe on the weekends, I might actually start doing some, or maybe I might start streaming multiple times. I might do sports, and then I might do, I don't ever really stream on Tuesdays, but maybe my Tuesdays will become my what do they call it, variety days. I might start doing some variety shit on my Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, or maybe, Sundays. Nah, maybe just Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll start doing some variety stuff, man, like art and video games. Well, look, guys, again, man, appreciate all the love, the support. Thank you for everybody who stopped by. It's your boy, Godchild, first of his name. This has been the What's Packing Sports Show. And as always, go, Pack, go, and never forget, the Bears still suck.